Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here, and as you can see, I'm here with some of my originals, the Comic Cinema crew. We are here to discuss Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Let me first bring back the crew in case you don't remember. Without further ado, let's start with my man E Money. What's good, E?
What's going on with you? What's going on?
Yes, yes, yes. And I gotta holler at, Miss Chloe Diaz, who always brings great perspective. What's up, Chloe?
What's up? Miss you guys.
Okay, and the originator himself, one of my inspirations, Mr. Josh Waring. What's up, Josh?
Shaboy!
And listen, last but not least, a blast from the past. My God, who brings all the energy and insight. My old partner, the Cowboy, King of Content. What's up, Cowboy?
Cause I'm a cowboy. Oh man. What's up, Mike?
What's up, man? Bringing the energy. I love it. I love it. I love it. And we are here, like I said, to talk about Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse. Happy everybody got a chance to see it. I'll give my thoughts and opinions on the movie, obviously, from there. But I always like to start to go backwards, man. So I know we all watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I even know that we did watched it years ago. Me, Chloe, Josh, and Anthony to Cowboy. I'm sorry to talk about it. So. Yeah. Let me go back to that. I'm gonna start with Cowboy because I left you last. Into the Spider-Verse, the last movie. I remember you didn't want to watch it because it was a cartoon or something like that.
Yeah. So I remember, and I actually said this in my review, but I remember somebody was like, it was their best Spider-Man. It might have been you, Mike. And I was like, I don't feel that's fair because it's animated. So when as a kid you watched cartoons and you read comic books. You always wish. The hope is that one day they could make what you see on screen, live action. So every time they have a live action adaptation of a comic book or a cartoon, I get excited to see how great they could do. But in a cartoon form, man, you get to do so much because everything looks one to one. Everything looks identical. Whereas if somebody's flying on screen, you can be like, I could tell that's green screen, right? So so I always didn't want to give too much credit to a cartoon. So yeah, the first one, I rated it as well. First, I didn't like it. I didn't think it was that I didn't like it that much. But yeah, so that's pretty much my backstory.
So after Into the Spider-Verse, you didn't like the first one that much. Into the Spider-Verse.
I didn't like it a lot, especially for the Spider Pig. You guys know I don't like too much comedy in my material or my viewing pleasure, unless it's like that's what it is. Like if it's a comedy. But I feel like. A lot of things they try to appease everybody, which is smart. That's how you make money. You get the grandma to come and the mom and people who naturally won't watch the stuff. But for me, it waters it down a little bit. So.
All right, so I remember that you didn't really like it that much. Josh, Into the Spider-Verse. What were your thoughts on the first movie?
Oh, it's fantastic and a wonderful, pleasant surprise. I mean, because one of the main reasons why we watched it is because I hadn't seen it, and it was,
that's what it was
on Netflix, so it was like the perfect storm. So I kind of felt like how Tony felt, but at the same time, I felt like how everybody else. I love Spider-Man and I love cartoons, so I'm willing to give it a chance. I just was never incentivized before when it came out, so I was like, I put that in when I saw the trailers. I put it in the same category as the Lego movies. Okay, cool, but I'm not racing. It's not a space race to watch it, so there's no urgency. So it was a pleasant surprise. So there was immense urgency to see it this time because Big Mike didn't even know we saw it. He thought we were gonna wait weeks.
Yeah, I did. I know how you guys are. Sometimes I go to movies. Chloe, it was you who loved the Into the Spider-Verse, and I did as well.
My favorite.
It's your favorite, right?
Favorite Marvel movie, period. Like I would even say it's probably neck and neck with Black Panther, like neck and neck, because Miles Morales is lit. The soundtrack for the first movie was just like everything, and I was the one who was like, rallying for that over the pandemic.
That's what it was.
I was like, we need to watch this. So I'm glad I got you guys to see it, but
I already seen it, but I got them to see it. I already seen it.
Wait, you didn't do the viewing with us?
I thought no, I did. We did, but I seen it before. I'm saying, but I did this.
Yeah. That's when we were trying to do the Netflix party. No, Disney party.
We did do a Netflix party. We did it.
It was weird.
Cool. Actually, I thought it was fun actually. But anyway, that's another story. So now We got Across the Spider-Verse. Josh told us his anticipation for it. Anthony, since you didn't really like Into the Spider-Verse, what made you want to jump on and see this Across the Spider-Verse movie?
Actually, my wife, she was like, "Oh, the Spider-Man movie's out. We should go see it." I was like, "All right," because I just felt like a weight on it. And so, what I love is an underdog. I love when I think I'm not gonna like something, because then it's true. It could really impress me. And so, yeah, I really didn't. I was just like, all right, my wife wanted to see it, so we're gonna see it. Matter of fact, it was so funny that weekend we went and seen the Boogeyman. Before we seen that, we put the Boogeyman over that, and then seen
Wow.
Spider-Man the next day. Because we was like, yo, we free. We're gonna watch 2 movies this weekend. I was like, yeah, we'll watch Spider-Man. Let's go see Boogeyman. And so yeah, so that's why I seen it, because my wife.
Let me get E back in here. Are you good, bro?
All right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
All right. How did you like the first one, Into the Spider-Verse, man?
I wasn't a big fan of the first one either.
Okay.
Like,
all right.
it was just okay for me, especially being a cartoon movie. When I watch cartoon movies, most of them got to be bloody, gory, stuff like that.
Yes.
So that's what I'm really used to.
So more like
Right.
anime style for you.
More
Yeah,
anime style, right? Yeah.
I got you. Okay. All right, that makes sense. Okay, so coming into I loved Into the Spider-Verse like Chloe. I thought it's in my top 2 or 3 Spider-Man movies. Well, I haven't really redid my rankings yet right now. So I just thought it captured, Spider-Man, even though it wasn't Peter Parker, but it still captured what Spider-Man is and what he means. I thought it was so well done into the Spider-Verse. So I was very, very, very excited for Across the Spider-Verse. So I was very happy with the outcome of that too. Now, Across the Spider-Verse, let's get into that. So, this movie, it kind of starts like after he's already now been Spider-Man for like a year or so, a year and some change. But he's also can't get back to the people from the original movie. Like, they're all in their different universes at first, as we can see. But it starts with Gwen, not Miles, and we're with Gwen for like 20 minutes, and we're seeing her story, and we're seeing her and her dad, and we're seeing Miguel O'Hara come in, and they take her away. So let me talk about just that first act, I guess, part of the first act. Josh, how you feel about Gwen and her story and her world and stuff like that? So,
I mean, it made sense. I thought that was a perfect opportunity for both demographics and character development. So I thought that was great, and it would make sense that they had all those themes in there for that demographic in the background and the Easter eggs, if you will. Shout out to Eric Voss at New Rockstar. So things like that. And I did love the color palette. I thought that was very interesting because it's literally comic books coming alive. It's fantastic.
We'll get into the graphics in a bit. Chloe, from the female standpoint, you're on the female on the chat. How'd you feel about Gwen and showing her story, stuff like that?
You want to know my first thoughts?
Yes.
I was like, I hope this ain't gonna be another Wakanda Forever Part 2. Where it just changes. Like, I ain't come here to see her. I came to see Miles Morales. That was my very first thought. Okay. And then after that was like my initial knee-jerk reaction. And then I was just like, just be patient. Because it was beautiful. It was like aesthetically beautiful. Yeah. But then I also was like, I don't like where this is going with the soundtrack. Like, I wanted someone like New York, like music, like, and it was just very rock and roll. And I was just like, okay, I see why they're doing this. I'm gonna just be patient. But that was like my first initial reaction. It looks pretty, so it's keeping my attention. Hopefully this don't turn into Wakanda 2, and the music was just not where I needed it to be.
Tony, how you feel about that first part? Just Gwen's part alone, and the fights with them and the Vulture and all that stuff happening there.
So when I seen the trailer, they showed her a lot. So it didn't bother me that they were starting off with her because I knew she was going to be a big part of it. But my only issue with the Vulture is I felt he was way too overpowered. Like, they could not beat him. Like, he was tearing them. Like, they couldn't. At one point, I could have sworn they cut his wing off, and then he had his wing again. I was like, wait. Yeah. So, I was like, man, like, why is he so powerful? And that only part bothered me. I get it. It was a good, like, intense moment. Showed it was so much action. I just felt like he was way too overpowered. But I thought it was a good start to bring her in. And one thing I'll say to you guys is, I used to be in the comic books a long time ago, and Spider-Man 2099 was a big deal. When they started
Yeah,
the
he was.
2099 art, I mean, I loved Hope 2099 because he looked like Godzilla, he got a tail and everything. But Spider-Man 2099 was a big deal. So just to have him in it and started off with him, because you see him in the trailer, but so I thought it was real epic. The only issue again was the Vulture was just too powerful.
Okay.
E.
Right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I
what
hear
were
you
your
now.
thoughts on Gwen? I put myself on mute. I had to answer a call. What were your thoughts on Gwen and all that stuff? And also, seeing Miguel O'Hara for the first time in this movie, and also Jessica Drew. How you felt about that? Seeing them.
Yeah. All right. So Jessica Drew threw me off a little bit with the motorcycle, and I was happy she was black though, so I didn't have a problem with her for real.
Okay.
But she was pregnant and all that stuff, doing all that. Then you had Gwen. Gwen was good. I didn't have a problem with the Vulture being powerful because that's a it's the multiverse. So when I look at the multiverse, every time you go to a different multiverse, certain people are just more different than others. So sometimes this what's his name, Shocker, could be more powerful, but this time it was Vulture that's more powerful. So that when I see that, that's how I look at that with Vulture.
Oh wait, we was talking about the Jessica Drew too. The whole
Well,
team.
the whole Gwen part. Yeah, I was talking
Oh,
about.
the
Yeah,
whole
like the whole
team.
team.
Oh, the whole.
The
Oh
whole
yeah,
team.
man, I had way more to say than that.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Hop back in.
First of all, I don't watch trailers. I hate trailers because I feel like they give away the movie. Like my brain works too hard. Like if I see a trailer, I'm gonna know what's gonna happen in the movie. So long story short, when the chick came out and I was like, oh snap, that's Issa Rae.
I love Issa.
That was lit. I was like, okay. Then she turned around, she was pregnant. I said, oh, okay. That was interesting. Black representation.
She had a fro and everything. I like that shit.
She had the fro. That's what I said.
The biggest thing for me was the fact that she's married and pregnant.
Right.
Because I was like, first thing I was like, she better not be no baby mother. And then the next thing she's like, my husband. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, Marvel. I see what you did there. Representation. Because I had qualms about the first movie. It was no black woman. Remember, that was the whole thing I went through with y'all. I was like, there's no representation. I said, only the soundtrack had black women. So now to see her on screen, and it was Issa voicing her, I was like, oh, this is nice. And she's married, and she got a baby on the way. It was like, okay, she's a black woman not putting work before her family, like, and she got a husband. It was just, I love that part. In the part with I like the graphics with the guy, the Leonardo da Vinci dude.
Oh, you the Vulture, yeah.
The Vulture, and it was kind of cool, like how the art was just, like out of this world. Because there's so many different mediums at one time.
At the same time, that's dope. Yeah,
yeah, that's what made it weird to me. That's
I
my
love that.
problem with it. It's so
I love it.
It was kind of cool because they wanted you to really see that this person's from a different dimension by making the artwork different.
That to me kept my interest, and then the fact that it was like the museum, was that the MoMA they were at, or the Guggenheim? They were at the Guggenheim, and that's like a real art exhibit. And then when they cut the dog in half, and there was all the little doggies in there, I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch. So it's kind of cool living, in the Northeast. We go to New York, we're familiar with these places, so to see it being brought to life, and then like, what are they taking that is real and not real, and then these different multiverses. So that was pretty dope.
And okay, I'm going back to Josh. Josh, how you felt about Miguel O'Hara and Jessica Drew in their first appearance on the screen there?
Yeah, that was very interesting. It did remind me of the TVA a little bit. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yeah. But
it was cool to hear Oscar Isaac and Issa Rae, of course, and to see different characters, but also I'm a huge nerd when it comes to the Renaissance. I have Leonardo da Vinci, paintings up there. So to see that come to life, that was pretty fucking dope. And as Chloe was saying with the mediums, I thought that was a very clever way because that effect literally makes things come off the page. I thought that was fantastic.
Well, the whole thing was with Gwen, that she was obviously like every other Spider-Man hiding it from her dad, and we saw the backstory of that. Her Peter who was her best friend, died, and the dad was obsessed with finding the killer, who he thought was Spider-Woman. And then at the end of that whole Da Vinci fight scene with the Vulture, we see she reveals to her dad that it's actually her as Spider-Woman. and he still tried to arrest her. So then she did with Issa Rae and them. So let me go back to Cole. How you felt about that part there?
That was like very unrealistic to me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I'm like, they got some family drama. Like, what's up with their relationship? If she confessed to him and then he could still try to arrest her. First of all, you can't arrest Spider-Woman. Second of all, or man, whatever. And then it's just like, what? It just, that didn't sit. It just didn't feel like it was, you could tell it was a plot device because that wouldn't happen in real life.
Huh. You felt the same way you said?
Yeah, I didn't like that. That bothered me. I was saying it to myself as I was watching it. I was like, damn, what kind of father would just try to like take his own daughter, and after she's telling you, she's looking you in your face and telling you she ain't do that. That's not what she's about. And you still like calling for backup, looking all crazy about the shooter. Look, I thought he was about to, put one in her for real.
He did point the gun at her. Did he lower the gun? I can't remember.
No, he lowered it.
No.
Put it back up.
And then put it back up at her.
Yeah.
How you put a gun to your kid? Like,
That
serial
what I'm
killers'
saying.
parents be riding with them.
Let me get Tony here. How you felt about that?
Hey, thank you, man, because I'm hearing some nonsense. It must be the black culture. I don't know what it is, bro. But listen, I got a job to do, all right? I don't know. Listen, you know how I am? And it might be people who don't got kids. I don't know. But I always told my son, when he was a knucklehead, and I used to have to go to court with him for being out late and all this nonsense, I said, bro, wait till you turn 18. It's the real world. Listen, I ain't helping nobody bury bodies. And this is how I feel with parents that always have their kids back. You the parents that's going to be helping your kids bury a body. They're going to be like, well, mom, this is what I did. And next thing you know, y'all both in prison. Listen, first of all, y'all leaving a big time gap out. Second of all, what I didn't like in the movie, Peter didn't just die. He turned to the lizard in that universe. He was the lizard. And I feel like, did nobody come out and say he was this giant lizard creature and then the thing dropped on him and he died? But everybody left that out. So he thought, he ran in at her dad and just seen Peter dead and Spider-Woman jump off, right? So that's what it looked like. Why no one came out and was like, no, actually this big thing fell on him and he got crushed as a giant monster. Anyway, we're going to get past that, which was cool though in that universe that Peter was the lizard. Now we get past that. Bro, if my kid, I thought, murdered somebody and I'm a cop, one, I'm not losing my job for my child. You're just going to say that. Two, I'm doing my job. Listen,
You're not losing your job for your child?
Hell no. If they guilty, if I think they guilty,
What if they fire you?
Listen, meaning if he thought his child was guilty and he let his child off and they find out, he's gonna lose his job. Now, if you're not guilty, listen, let me bring you in. You say what you gotta say. We'll investigate it, and then if you didn't do anything, what's up, King C? This is my guy. Started playing We Wrestle Wednesdays with us, but yeah, so I'm gonna bring you in. Oh, my man Ellis in the building, play We Wrestle Wednesday with us. What's up, Ellis? So yeah, I'm not losing my job for my child. So listen, I'm gonna bring you in. I'm gonna be like, listen, they my kid. I don't think they did it, but we gotta go through the regular process. And if you innocent, you're gonna get out, because 8,000 people just watch dude get smashed. Like, I don't understand why she never even said, whoa, because anybody could collaborate my story. So anyway.
But go with the process though. She could be out there saving lives. And
right.
You want her locked in?
Bro, first of all, people thought
your own flesh and blood?
No. So if you're gonna talk from what you see, right? Like the cinema is, he thinks she's a bad guy and killed somebody. You're not gonna be like, oh, because now you take the mask off and you my daughter, I guess you're not a bad guy. Yo, my kids do some nonsense, and I think they probably out there doing nonsense. Like, y'all are you're taking the family logic. Blood is stronger than anything. No.
Yeah.
I have a question. So he just negated the whole fact that this random dude from a multiverse came in flapping his wings and she was saving everybody.
Right.
That too.
Like he's running with a gun. Like, a gun ain't gonna kill this this paper dude flying around, and she over here whipping doing the webs and stuff, and he just gonna say, "Well, you're a murderer. I'm taking you in." Like,
well,
bro,
no, but he still, but still,
right.
He did think she killed him though. He did, regardless. Chloe, listen, you can have a if a crackhead tell you not to do crack, you probably should listen to him, but he's still a crackhead. So at the end of the day, I'm just saying. At the end of the day, yes, she was doing some good things, but he still thought she killed Peter. You know what I mean?
Let me get Josh. He hasn't really spoken with us. Josh, how you feel about him and him still trying to arrest his daughter and all that stuff going on?
Wow, I'm about to start calling him Sheriff, King of Content, King of Video.
You already got the hat.
Listen, I already got the hat. Already got the hat, bro.
Side note for Big Mike and E Money, Ellis would be great for the Power review.
Really?
Very, very articulate brother right there. So, but yes, for this, I was, I agree with everybody else besides Tony, because it was a forced plot hole. It was very weird. It was it's like this happens in live action, it happens in cartoons, it happens in animation. Whenever there's a forced plot hole that doesn't really make sense, and I know they're trying to show the humanity of the characters by creating, very intense, weird situations, but that one was, really forced and didn't make sense at all. That's just my perspective. But I understand, to Tony's point, though, I understand that they were trying to, show that he was really reacting because of how much he loved his daughter. That's how he felt that way about Spider-Woman. But he didn't have context, but he channeled all that rage towards that. That was the scapegoat in that universe, right? And then I do agree with everyone else, even though I'm not a parent, right? Again, me personally, I can't do that. You know what I mean? In that moment.
And when they say you raise a gun, you're supposed to, the number one cop rule: don't raise a gun unless you're prepared to kill the person, right? How you gonna raise?
I think if anything, if I really believed, well, first of all, I probably wouldn't believe she did it, but I still would say let's go home and talk about it rather than put you in the system. Because now,
but one thing you guys are mismanaging. It wasn't just that happened and then she went right home. It was time went by and she, remember, they showed her at the dinner table upset, and she never said anything about Peter. So time went by where he thought in his head the Spider-Woman killed Peter. Y'all guys make it sound like it happened and he went home and found out. It was time went by. It was more than a day went by that in his head he's thinking Spider-Woman killed Peter. So you guys are
right. But part of his motivation, right, to catch the Spider-Woman at the time was because Peter was Gwen's best friend.
Yeah,
he was trying to catch the killer, quote unquote, for her. But once he come to find out, like, oh wow, she's Spider-Woman, so she didn't do it. It should be like, okay, let's team up to find the real killer. Not I'm gonna arrest you.
No.
Regular cops ain't taking their kid in. Regular cops will at least get their kid a lawyer before they take them in the jail. Like, that's not even real life. Like, that must be the multiverse.
Regular cops will break the rules. Regular cops will break the rules for their kids.
Listen to what he just said. He said regular cops will break the rules. I'm sure there's people like me that I'm not going to break the rule. Well, mind you, picture this. I break the rule. I come in there with a lawyer for my kid. Listen, I found out that my kid was Spider-Woman. So I got a lawyer first and didn't follow chain of command. First of all, I'm losing my job. Like,
what chain of command? How? First of all, he couldn't even arrest her if he wanted to.
No, but he still found out who she was, right? And the whole world, the police department thought that she was the killer, right? So
but they didn't know it was Gwen.
I know that don't matter. They found out who the person. You got a mask on. We think you the killer. Now we find out who. It's like Jeffrey Dahmer killing all these people, and we find out who Jeffrey Dahmer is. Okay, guess what? Now you did it. You got to go to jail, right? So you got a mask on. We think you did it. You take the mask off. Okay, now we know who the person is.
Hey, Tony, quick question. If you are Gwen's age, right? Let's remember when we were that age and we were making logical decisions, right? Based upon our emotions, right? Being young and developing humans at that time. So what's the one scenario in storytelling that would make it plausible for a character to go off into another universe and leave their parent who's a widowed or widower single dad?
I think, I don't have a problem with that. We are speaking from the cop.
I'm just saying.
Speaking from the cop,
right? But in terms of storytelling, I'm saying that's literally that's like a plot device, a major one.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Speaking from the cop,
we're just talking about the cop.
Real quick, my whole thing would be, as far as like, she's Spider-Woman, she's not the random Jane Doe, right? So if he takes her in, they're gonna wind up taking her to like fucking Area 51 and shit, probing and plotting her because she got all these powers and shit. I'm not putting my kid through that. I'm trying to still protect her as my kid. Like, I'm not going to tell the world she's Spider-Woman, not to mention any type of villain she may have or whatever else shit like that. Like,
Right.
you're literally, like, stripping her of her ability to be able to protect herself by doing that
Correct.
shit.
Correct.
I'm not doing
and
that.
protecting you.
Thank you.
Yeah, protecting you, not even herself. Like, she could protect herself.
That's literally the whole point of the Spider-Man mask.
Yeah, but anyway, move on to the next topic. Just want to go just waking up and had to support people. Thanks again, Ellis. Appreciate that, man. Yeah,
Ellis,
you come
the
on
word
anytime,
of
man.
Thanks, Ellis.
I love me. We'll be doing a lot of different shows and stuff like that. So
Yeah, Ellis, you got to check my man Big Mike out, man. He does great stuff, man, and he does a lot of stuff I think you'll be into, as Josh said. So.
All right, so moving on. Let's go to Miles' World now, right? So in Miles' World, which Chloe was, I'm sure, very happy to see. First thing we see is this new villain, the Spot. And at the time we see the Spot, initially he's kind of like goofy, clumsy, can't really do it, trying to rob this ATM and stuff like that at this bodega. And Miles like chilling. He like microwaving food and shit like that. And he like, all right, I'm gonna catch him when I can catch him and stuff like that. And then initially, we don't get the whole backstory, but we do see a little bit of what's going on in Miles' life. Miles trying to catch the villain. Also, there's a meeting happening at the school, a meeting with the guidance counselor. So, just this whole first scene, we'll go back to Chloe. How do you feel about that and initially seeing Miles back in his world? So.
I thought it was cool. Like I said, I love when it's like reminds me of home. So like the fact that he's in a bodega, he eating a beef patty when the Jamaican dude, not a bodega, but the corner store, the Jamaican dude, he got the Jamaican accent that cracked me up. And then Miles was eating, he's eating a beef patty. That was funny. And then the villain, I thought I liked the villain because he was clumsy and it was just not what you would expect a villain to be like. And then it kind of showed him juggling like his regular life and then his superhero life. And then you got his father texting him the wrong thing, like what the typos. It was, to me, that part was, I thought it was funny. I liked it.
Hey, let me holler at you. How your thoughts on that whole part in the beginning with the Spot and the, going to the school meeting and stuff like that. So.
Well, I love it. It almost felt live action, like the way he was. He came down upside down eating the beef patty, like she said. Like I thought that was great. The dude speaking, wasn't he was Jamaican, right?
He was Jamaican.
Yeah, he was Jamaican. What was the thing's name again? The Spot.
The Spot.
Yeah.
Now the powers is crazy.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how he was going to get to the money when he first was sticking his hand through and going through the cans and hitting the other food items. Yeah, I thought
I like the part where Miles laughed at him when the bread was coming through.
Yeah.
Up and shit like that. Oh, yo, that's so disrespectful. You laughing at me and shit like that. So, but Josh, I'm swinging back around. Josh, how you felt about the Spot and that whole initial reintroduction of Miles in his world? I would say.
I thought it was very authentic, very cool perspective because the best part about Spider-Man, he's a snarky kid. He always has each Spider-Man has to have their own swag, so I appreciate Miles' swag, And then he had the audacity to see how things would unfold. Like I don't even know you yet, but and lo and behold, later in the scene we see, he get an A+ in quantum physics. So that. Right. Again, so it's that duality. So I think it's a great representation of how most Spider-Mans, most Peter Parkers or whoever, right? They're using mathematics and geometry, and that's one of the reasons why they're so smart and talented. So it's a culmination of both superhuman power, which is great, but also superhuman intellect. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a great representation of the duality of the typical Spider-Man character, and we could possibly say it's even canon at this point.
I agree.
Yeah. And we'll get into that later.
Tony, back to you, man. Miles, how you feel about that? The Spot, that whole first scene with him.
I personally thought it was pretty silly. I thought the villain was silly. I took it as a F grade villain. I thought him trying to juggle and get to class on time was silly. But I like underdogs, right? And I like that it was. So first, I already felt the Vulture was too overpowered. That was kind of weird. I did like when the cop wanted to arrest his daughter, and you guys didn't. And then this part, I was like, it's kind of silly. It was a silly scene, right? But it's set up for a better movie. It actually pulled me in more by like I'm sitting in the seat like, here we go, this stupid dumb cartoon. And but it was cool because eventually we'll get to the Spot. So it was cool for him to be like the bread falling through him, and he's like looked like he's just not a good villain. And Miles trying to get to class on time, his dad texting him, and they was really playing out the silliness in the scene, and it was bothering me, but it was a great setup for what was to come. I thought the Jamaican thing was cool. I was recently saying, not to get too emotional, but I miss my grandma. She passed away some years ago, and every time I hear somebody with like a Jamaican accent, I was just telling my daughter this. I was like, it's kind of cool because it just reminds me of my grandma, and so I just love it. And so it's kind of cool that they happen to be there. They do got the accent and stuff, and it's a beef patty. It was funny, but I wasn't too high on the scene, but it was setting me up for liking the movie more. So it played a good part for me, even though it wasn't my favorite scene.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I thought it was a good reintroduction, kind of like a slow build. The villain wasn't as strong yet, which we'll get to, and stuff like that. But also to show, like Josh, that two parts of the duality. You show Miles being Spider-Man and his intellect, but also how he got to be Spider-Man, but also still try to make it to school for the guidance council meeting and stuff like that. And that always, like Josh said, was canon with Peter. It's always like, I got to do this and do this, do this and do this. And this, it's always like, it get overwhelming for them. And that's part of his story. I did like the school meeting. Like you said, Miles is very, very smart. I like the fact, and I said this in the other chat, that Miles' dad is there, like at the guidance council meeting before he goes to work. And I just like the fact that they're showing that fathers can be present and stuff like that. And it's both parents there, and you don't often see that, especially with minorities. So I thought that was, really, really good. Usually, like the mom goes or something like that, a lot of times. So I thought that was good too, and I thought Miles saying he want to go to Princeton. And shout out to Princeton in New Jersey.
Yeah,
I thought that was also pretty cool too. So
that was fire.
Yeah, to put that in there and stuff like that. And his mom like, Princeton. I'm like, yo, bro, you're in Brooklyn. It's not far. You fine. So I thought that was pretty cool too. So, and I think us, like, especially here on the East Coast and where we live at, we probably appreciate that more than, let's say, like Californians who don't know like a short distance and stuff like that. So I feel like that was like good as well. And even going through his room and get his Jordans back from his roommate. I thought that was pretty cool too.
That was funny too. Yeah.
Sitting there
First
playing.
of all, ain't nobody wearing my Jordans when I'm out. Like he should have
Ain't
got
none of that.
He wasn't even going nowhere. He's chilling his Jordans in that room and shit like that.
You got my Jordans. Like I had an issue with that. With somebody using my stuff when I was in college, and we had to have a talk. Like you're not gonna touch my stuff when I ain't here. So that rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, whoa, crazy.
Yeah, and he was playing. I said Easter egg, but he was playing the new Spider-Man 2 game. The roommate. So I thought it was dope too.
That was an Easter, super Easter egg.
So, but Sony can do what they want to, so I thought it's cool. So I thought it was really, really good reintroduction myself. Kind of like, I know it was silly for you, Tony, but I think it was meant to be that way. Kind of like not as serious.
It definitely was. Yeah.
As we build up to the serious nature of the show, of the movie. All right, so we're still in Miles' world. Like I said, Gwen is off doing what she's doing and stuff like that. So Gwen, and so now Miles, the spot thing continues after the school meeting, but now his dad. It was going back to work now. Now he's involved. And then we start to see why the Spot is so angry at Miles. The plot comes into place. And, how Miles actually was the reason he became the Spot, and he wasn't and the whole spider with the that he got bit by, and then Miles did with that bagel in the last movie and stuff like that. So, but he gets away. Meantime, though, we also have this whole thing with again, the duality, Josh. Miles' dad's parties. Remember, they had a lot going on that day, matter of fact. But anyway, Miles' dad's party. Now think about it. You had a school meeting, a party. You had that going on that day. But anyway.
Well, hold up. Wasn't before the party, we had that exchange with Spider-Man and Miles' dad on the bridge. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was before the party. Yeah.
Again, on the same day. So, how have you said that, Tony? So, how you feel about that exchange and also the Spot kind of revealing why he's so angry at Miles, stuff like that?
Yeah, so I love a villain, right? I love a villain that is more powerful than the hero, and then the hero has to figure out, how do I beat him? So at first I looked down like, Spot is just some regular little dude. But then I was like, oh wait, he had like big plans that he was figuring out, right? That he could be more powerful. But I also liked his backstory and was like, oh wow, his backstory has something to do with the first movie. And they just breeze over it, right? Mm-hmm. And so, and then you find out like, oh wait, Miles Spider. Like that was really cool. I'm sure we're gonna get all into that. But I thought that was really cool because now it was making me like Spot, right? At first, they did a good job of making you think he's a throwaway villain. And now they was like, oh wait, it's more levels to this guy. And plus, I don't know how far it's gonna go, right? Like from the trailer, I think like the bad guy is gonna be Spider-Man 99. I don't know what's gonna happen, right? And so I think this was a really good scene. It was a really good scene to show Miles talk to his dad, but as Spider-Man and trying to give him advice with his son. And he was getting a chance to see what his dad kind of thinks of him without seeing it for himself, right? Because his dad doesn't know he's Spider-Man. And then when they go to the party, he's late, he's getting the cakes, but he's still trying to be Spider-Man. He still, was fighting Dot for a little bit. And then he's trying to get into the cab driver way without him with the cakes in it. So I thought it was a good scene because for me, I'm already like, all right, I'm sitting in my seat and I'm already like certain things bother me with the movie. But this was when the movie started to pull together for me because it was making it a little more solid.
All right. Same scene. Chloe, let's get to you. Him still chasing, learning more, and him and his dad talking. And, if you want to go up into the party, you can too.
Okay, so I thought that was dope. Like him talking to his dad, I thought that was funny. Like that, I think that was probably one of my favorite scenes. Because like if you were Spider-Man, you probably would do the same thing too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was
I
funny.
don't know how his dad don't know. He like, hey, yeah, Captain.
Right.
Like,
yeah, he
like,
changed
yeah.
his. Well, that's another thing I was thinking too. I mean, and that's when you have to suspend reality. But I'm like, I would definitely know if that was my kid
Right.
in a you could just tell it's your kid. I don't know. Like, I would think
and
you
Gwen
would
do the same shit with her dad. I'm like, oh, that's this dumbass people.
Like your kid is just randomly showing up late all the time. They knew something was up. So it was just weird. I mean, and then maybe it's because it's like, well, are you really going to think your kid is Spider-Man? Probably not. So maybe that's why. But it's when they had to talk, I was like, oh, dang, he bold. He going to talk to him as Spider-Man. That would have been a dead giveaway for me. Like, especially when he changed his voice. Yeah. And then he has the same, I don't know. That was, but I thought it was cute because I was like, oh, that's definitely something that a kid would do with a parent. Like, so what's up? Like, what do you think about your son? Like, and then he was able to kind of express himself to his father. So that was dope. And then the part with the cakes was weird. I don't know. I wasn't too thrilled about that part because he was like saving people, fighting people on his way to the party. And then he got to the party late. And then the cake said, what did it say? Something like, I'm not proud or something. Yeah. That was weird because ain't no way you gonna be late to a party and I'm gonna do a speech and my kid not here. I'm like, hold up, we gonna hold this speech till my kid come here. So that was a little weird. But
I agree with that part about the cakes. I thought that was like not necessary.
Actually. Yeah, that was weird. Yeah. And then I liked the part when he was walking through with his family. But it wasn't no black people there. I'm like, damn, his whole family's Spanish. That was kind of weird. Like, it's just his dad and his uncle dad. So, like, where's the black people at this cookout?
Maybe his dad wasn't close to the rest of the family. I don't know.
And wait, there was something else, and I think it happened before this part when he was like, oh, yeah, they were sitting there watching Spider-Man on TV, and Miles was like, oh, yeah, nah, he looks Dominican. Do you remember they said that?
The news person said that, something like that. I think.
Yes.
So I realized the reason why they said that, because I was always trying to figure out, like, is Miles' mom Puerto Rican or is she Dominican, right? And so the reason why he said that was because his mom is Puerto Rican. So he was trying to throw him off. He was like, yeah, he's Dominican. Yeah, because when they sat down when we back up a little bit, when they went to school, the mom actually said, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah. So because I was trying to figure out what was she, because we have these talks in my Discord, and my man Lion is Dominican. Yeah. So it was cool. She spelled it out. She said, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican.
Yeah, because in our talk, Chloe trying to say his dad was Dominican. I'm like, his dad Dominican. Yeah, no. What are you talking about?
He Morales.
Because he changed his name. It's his wife's name.
Who does that?
Like the him.
Yeah, him. Right.
That makes me so mad.
Hey, Chloe, I'm listening to you, Chloe. Two things. One thing, I want to make Josh happy. We talking about this whole Miles changing his voice. I guess that's why Batman be like, I'm the Batman, right? And then, so he don't have that problem with people catching his voice. And then two, you getting mad about him changing his last name. I'm getting mad about y'all thinking my man shouldn't arrest his daughter. But we can continue.
I ain't mad about it. It just don't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense.
You know what else threw me off? You know what else threw me off? When Ant said, "I like when the villains is way more stronger than the hero." When you was just mad about
No, because he's not even
Vulture.
the villain, bro. He's not even the main villain. He's like the bro. He was the
He's still a
introductory
villain.
villain. Like, and honestly, well, I'll get to it at the end.
Yo,
But
Josh,
yeah,
that's that crowd. Can't contradict shit.
no. He's not even the main villain of the. He's not even the
funny.
main villain. Like, how you got the main villain super? Y'all can't. So it starts off with the little. Unless he was going to be the main villain. It starts off with this guy. Y'all can't even beat him. I'm like,
listen. If somebody watched this show, they will hear you say at the beginning, "Yeah, Vulture was too overpowered." Then you gonna come back and say, "I'll out for the villains."
let me ask you a question, Mike. I'm gonna ask you a question. I just need a yes or no. Mike, let me ask you a question. Since I want somebody to watch this show. Was the Vulture the main villain?
No, he wasn't the main villain. No.
I thought he was the main villain. I thought he was. He looked like a main villain to me.
What? You watch the whole movie. You know what a main villain is?
Hold on, Tony. I have to interject here and also give my points as well, because this is why I really loved and appreciated the villain. Right, that was a classic villain story. I mean, you have someone with super intellect who, as a human being, is disregarded. Like, oh, you ain't even worth it, right? And then also as a villain as well.
What are you talking about?
The Spot.
The Spot, and then
we backed up and was talking about the Vulture now. We're talking about the Vulture. So they pointed out the Vulture. I just want us to stay on task. That's all.
I'm also, leading up to it as well, because I didn't give my thoughts about the section, but thank you though.
Josh, continue about your thought about the Spot and also about the dad, and Miles and the party, if you want to go into that too as well. So
absolutely. So the duality came to a boiling point, because at a certain point you can't just explain away like, oh, it's okay, he's young, he's a teenager, blah blah blah. No. At that point, if you're being late for your own parents, and these are very involved parents, as everyone has pointed out, and pretty great parents, like, so the fact that you would be late and everyone else is there and you not there, that would be like a major intervention. Like that was, to me, that was wonderful character development, in my opinion.
Okay.
Wait, you didn't finish your point. I'm sorry. I was invested in what you was going to say. And Tony interrupted you.
So I think I agree with Josh. Josh was about to talk about Spot. I agree with Spot.
Because that was part of that was also part of the character development. I was just saying as well, because he's essentially a multiversal villain. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And probably a Nexus being, which is interesting. So maybe we'll get into it later, but yeah.
Yeah, I love this too. Like that. So I want to be real quick. We gotta go fraud and stuff like that. I told y'all in the chat I had a problem. I was curious. I was like, yo, why is his last name Morales? Stuff like that. And then I started doing my research and going through it all, and I'm like, all right, so the kid got his mom's last name. Already bothered me, because I'm like, yo, why he got his black dad last name? Then in this movie, the dad takes the mom's last name. So I'm like, she don't even fucking work. Why are you taking her name and stuff like that? So this weird. All bothers me overall. But I think it's like this retconning. Because in the comics, he stays Jefferson Davis. So I think it's like this retcon trying to let you know, wow, Miles' last name is Morales, something like that. So go ahead, Anthony. Tony.
Maybe they had a divorce and then they got back together. Like maybe they wasn't together when she had that. I think that's what happened. They weren't married when she had the baby.
Miles. Oh, that'll work.
She named him Miles Morales, and then when they got married, maybe. I don't know why he changed his last name. He should have just kept his last name the way it was.
Right.
That's right.
Because if you look at the first movie, right, when his brother calls him, the call, he says Aaron Davis. It's like his last name is Davis, something like that. So I don't know why.
Davis.
Where did his last name say Morales in this movie?
When his name tag.
Yeah, it's Captain Morales now, whatever like that. He's Captain Morales. And also, on the last, we'll get to that, never mind. Your thoughts on the Spot kind of revealing how powerful he can get, and also Miles and his dad, and also the party itself and his duality going on.
All right, so first with the Spot, it just shows you how something so small can turn out so big. Because then he smacked him in the face with a sandwich or something. Yeah. Is that
a bagel?
Is that what knocked a bagel? That's it, a bagel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for him to turn out to be like that is crazy. That's number one. Number two, him talking to his dad not knowing it's him, I thought was goofy. I'm like, I felt the same way as Chloe. Like, what father don't hear the voice and know that's their kid under the mask? There's no voice changer like Batman, so I felt that was a little silly.
Or Ghost from Scream or something like that. Like
Right. There's no voice changer, so you know. So that was goofy. The cake was goofy. I felt that was just like an extra goofiness on top of goofiness, for real, for real. The party I like. I even liked the speech he gave. I just wish he would have waited for his son to be there to give that speech.
Let me ask you a question before I move on with the story. I'll stay with E right now. How do you like Miles' power set as opposed to what we knew as OG Peter? That he got the invisibility on top of the electricity and stuff like that. How do you like that they gave him all the powers?
I love it. You know why? Because it just means he's safer than Peter. Like, I've seen Peter go through some crazy struggles at some points, and I feel like Miles is not going to have that problem.
Okay. I'm gonna go around the board. Tony, how you like this power set?
So you know what's cool is obviously I'm home. I'm not working because of my arm, but I had this itch a little while ago that I wanted to finally play Spider-Man a couple months ago because I never had interest in the game, and I even bought it for my son the day it came out back in 2018 for his birthday, right? But I never cared about it. And then when I watched the Sony showcase, they ended it with a 12-minute trailer of part 2. And part 2 is Miles and Peter, right? And I was like, okay, now I know I want to play Spider-Man. So I finally played Spider-Man, which is cool. I beat it last week, and then I went and beat Miles Morales' game this week. And Miles Morales' power sets in that game, the same thing. He can be invisible, got electricity. It kind of bothers me a little bit. One, I like Spider-Man as Spider-Man. They gave him powers to make it feel like what if a person that was a spider had powers, this is what he would do. I don't even know why Miles' name is why he's still Spider-Man. Because he's doing so much stuff that a spider can't do. The electricity, turn invisible. I almost feel like he should be in his own his own superhero. So it's kind of weird. And even in the game, it was fun, right? It was a little, it was a little extra that I could electrocute people and stuff like that and turn invisible. But something authentic felt right, even playing the whole game of Spider-Man, having what you come to know and love as Spider-Man powers. So I think his powers are dope. I won't say they aren't, but I just feel like he shouldn't be a Spider-Man. He just do way too much extra stuff.
All right, well, let's talk to another gamer and person who watched Josh, how you feel about the powers of the Miles?
Yeah, I actually started playing that game, the Miles Morales game, like a week or two before the movie came out. So that was also cool as well to learn about the power set, which I think is great as well because some spiders do
Venom
have
strike,
camouflage as well. So that's one aspect. But it's also called, as it is in the game, it's called Venom.
Yeah, it's a Venom strike. It's not electricity.
Right. So it's kind of like if you look at Venom, it is still energy and type of inside the body when it happens. So it's still there on a quantum way. So I thought that makes sense for a multiversal Spider-Man because that just makes more sense as a power set. And all esoteric folklore, you have a lot of spiders associated with different dimensions and things like that. So to me, it just makes sense that he would have those type of abilities and be universal. And perhaps the Nexus Fiend, I don't know.
And what they did was,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. And what they did was, all right. So if you know anything about Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, she has that same power, that electricity Venom strike shit. So what they did was they just gave him what Spider-Woman had and what Spider-Man had all in one. That's what Miles is. The only new thing is the camouflage.
From a visual standpoint, Chloe, watching, how you like it? His power set.
I'm just confused why everybody's like, oh, he can't have these type of powers, Tony. And it's a cartoon. He's a Spider-Man. Like he do Spider-Man stuff because he got bit by a spider. That's the only reason his name is Spider-Man is because he got his powers because he got bit by a spider. And the powers that he got was because he got bit by a specific spider. So that spider was meant to give him them powers, which makes sense to me from a very simple standpoint because that's the only thing I know about Spider-Man and women is that they got bit by a spider and they got powers from that, which is why they named Spider-Man, not because of their talents. Because for me, it's kind of crazy how some of them could shoot the web out and some of them have these fake web shooters. That never made sense to me. But when you boil it down to why they're named Spider-Man, it's because they got bit by. That's the canon event. They got bit by a spider.
You just got canon.
Right.
You got canon, and I'm a web, so that's I got a special bond with spider people. Okay, I love Spider-Man, but I like his powers. I think they're cool, and I think that for me, understanding like the multiverse and how many spider people there are, and animals and things. Why would it be far-fetched that he has the powers? I'm just curious to know what every other spider person or thing's powers is. It just makes it very intriguing to me.
I think that for this particular universe, I mean, not just his universe, but his particular, I guess, world, Miles Morales, whether it's comic book or if it's the movie or the game, well, particularly the movie, I think it's fine. I think it's fine that he's got like it kind of sets him apart from our OG Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Right.
However, I wouldn't want to see him in the, let's say, 616 world with those powers, because I feel like that Spider-Man, 616 Spider-Man, part of his charm is part of his struggle and stuff like that. So I don't want to make him too OP because of the fact that that's what makes him who he is, stuff like that. So I'm fine. It's fine for this, but if they like, I would never see him one in our world, with not our world, but that world,
Really?
Wow. Okay.
Wow. I want to see him.
I want to see him live action.
With all those powers.
I want to see him live action, but live action in his universe, not like in the MCU and stuff like that.
MCU. I want to see him MCU.
No, because then it's not like he can't be better than Peter.
That's how I feel.
But he is.
Right.
When I played
better than Peter. Like
he can't be better than Peter.
When I played the game, when I played the Spider-Man game, you use Peter Parker, right? And then when I played Miles Morales game, you use Miles Morales, and it was a big difference. And it felt like it for me, like I had all these cool powers, but it was weird. It was like, man, the other game was definitely better to me because it was like Spider-Man, right? And this was like the knockoff Spider-Man, but he had like, he was OP. It was like, yeah, I felt like, okay, as a video game, I felt like I was using this special character.
That's what it feels like, yeah.
I feel like Peter Parker weak. Like, it makes me know that Peter Parker is not the alpha Spider-Man. Like, Miles Morales is the alpha. Like, how you, and then the other dude is even more stronger than him.
Spider-Woman was an alpha. She could fly, and she has what Miles got with the Venom strike. And she could fly.
But that's the whole point. Peter done been through so much for so many years. You can't have somebody say, okay, now he's not coming, I'm not the alpha, and stuff like that.
He old. They're going to phase him out.
He's not old. He's talking about.
But listen.
Peter Parker will never be phased out. I promise you. Stuff like that.
Y'all can't be upset that Miles got the powers he got when other Spider people had those powers around Peter and nobody complained or said anything. I didn't hear nobody complain about Spider-Woman. I didn't hear nobody complain about Spider-Woman.
She wasn't stronger than him. She could fly, but if you read all the comics,
and she has the
but if you read all the comics, Peter was always better than her. He always had to save her, Spider-Woman, and stuff like that. She was never stronger than him.
Well, Peter Parker,
she went out in space with Captain Marvel.
And Peter Parker was
fought Kree.
And Peter Parker was in Secret Wars. He was in Civil War. Spider-Man wasn't in all that shit. She was fighting.
Well, I'll just say this: when you get into the comics, it's like different, right?
It's different. Yeah.
It's hard to even just debate the comics because so much stuff has happened and. It's just a different thing. But the media, visual media, where people who don't even know who Spider-Man is now are getting to know Spider-Man. So there might be somebody who just seen Spider-Man and Miles for this together, right? And they're like, oh, they're thinking like Chloe, like, oh, he's more powerful, he's the alpha. And some people are historical, like, oh no, Spider-Man been around forever. Miles is newer, right? So the comic books is a little different to argue.
Also, it don't make you the alpha either because like War Machine got way more weapons than Iron Man suit,
right?
But he still can't beat Iron Man and shit like that. So
all right, so check this. If you look at the new Spider-Man case right now for Spider-Man 2 video game, they showed a picture. It has Venom chasing Peter, and it has Miles chasing Venom. So it has Peter getting attacked by Venom, and Miles is behind Venom.
And so
with
hold
that
up.
with the Venom strike.
So I
So
don't know
what
how
that
much
means.
I don't know how much a game
is
you are.
like-
That was concept art. The actual cover is just the real cover is just
Yeah,
Spider-Man
I
and
know
Miles
that's
Morales.
concept
That's
art,
not.
but
That's
I'm
not
just saying.
okay. All right.
Look at what my boy is capable of doing.
He's great,
But
but I
also-
like him in his world. Like he can't. I like.
mate-
It works for like where it's what it is right now. Like for Into the Spider-Verse, Sony fine,
But he's in
I would-
616. He's in the
But-
MCU.
I
He already
would wanna
was.
see-
He already was.
I
in
would
there
want to
since
see this
Homecoming.
Miles version in the like this
Yeah,
Spider-Man.
it's
Let's
a
put it
good
this
comic.
Spider-Man just went backwards. Honestly, our Spider-Man, because he was using Tony shit. Now he got Tony shit no more. Tony dead,
Right.
and now he got to go back to like making suits at home and shit like that. So he actually went backwards. So I never want to see that happen.
You just, I think that you also have to remember that like powers. Miles Morales is still a kid. How old is the
Right.
other Spider-Man? He old.
Exactly.
So like eventually he gonna die, maybe, right? Does he have like a
Yeah.
special power where he doesn't age?
No.
No. So like bigger, better, more evolved Spider-Man of
Listen,
color.
it's all good. It is
You
what
feel
it is.
me?
Everybody's okay to have their preference. Yeah, I think his powers are definitely well, he's definitely more powerful than Peter, you know. So
Yeah.
but it's okay. But it's like
But
look at Josh, right? You can't hold up.
skill wise, Peter got him.
Yeah, but look at this. Yeah, definitely. But look at this.
Skill-wise, he does because he's more mature and he has more experience.
Right. He has
But-
more experience.
See,
Right.
now I'm about to say something. See, now when I bring up why I like superheroes because they're overpowered, then we get people like Josh. No, Batman's amazing. Batman's amazing. Like Batman can't do nothing.
Is that how you said it?
Money. Batman has money.
Hey, Tony.
I'm
Hey,
like,
Tony. Congratulations, you played yourself because that was never my argument. That was your argument. So you trying to beat me with your argument as if
No.
I said it.
I'm just saying, like,
Argument. What kind of sense is that? That's like having a shootout and then me give me my gun and me.
but
Oh,
listen,
shoot
no,
up.
no,
What are
because
you
it's one
doing?
way. You everybody's bigging up Peter or Miles because he's more powerful, but then you bring up Batman, then you're like, well, he doesn't need to be that much powerful. He's the OG. He's the alpha. Like, but Chloe make it like the alpha is the more powerful person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and again, I never said any of those words. That's why I'm like, who is this?
No,
Is this
I'm just
multiverse
bringing
Josh
it in
that I don't know?
because-
but to Tony's point, Tony, Bruce Wayne does have more power because he got the more money. That's power too. Power doesn't just come.
Anyway,
Like, that's like Iron
Anyway,
Man.
I don't
want
wanna go to tangent. I
Batman
love
got
it.
money.
I love it for this movie, especially because
Yeah.
I feel like he needs it, especially facing people like Miguel O'Hara. You know what I mean? Stuff like
Right.
that. So he needs it. But I would never ever want to see it in the MCU. So I'm hoping it'll happen.
With
I
all
wanna see
those
it-
energy.
Oh, I hope it
aliens,
happens,
You
man.
have to. You need
It's
him.
happening.
You need him.
You need him.
I want to
You
see a
need
live
him.
action Miles, a Sony live action Miles though.
Nah,
That's
ain't
what-
Nah. I need
I
MCU.
don't think they'll
need
give him
MCU.
away. I don't think
I don't
they'll
think
give him
so
away.
either.
Yeah,
They have. They already said it in this movie.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
they've
not
been
to go to
setting him up.
MCU though. Like
Yeah,
do
they've
their own
been
live
setting him
action
up for
Miles.
No, they
MCU.
set him up because the
Nah, they've been
the
setting him
Asian
up.
They got their
lady.
own villains in Sony already. They got a fucking Craven movie coming
Right,
out.
they got their villains.
They need a Spider-Man, actually.
Right, they do, but I feel like they already setting them up for the MCU. They're probably
Yeah.
going to use them in Sony, but I think
In
they're
both.
going to set them up to
They
come
got a
out the
Morpheus,
MCU.
they got a Craven, they got a villain outside of the MCU. They need a fucking Spider-Man. So why not be Miles or whatever? Should look good.
It probably
It's
is. But they're
I
going to
mean,
start
he
Miles
already-
off with
He
Peter.
already mentioned Miguel O'Hara. Literally mentioned Doctor Strange.
Yeah, in the
Right.
movie, and it's the same timeline or the
Yeah,
one
I
that
don't want to
went
see now. What I don't want to
French.
see is a
Right.
third Spider-Man running around. So I feel like the smart thing would do is that Sony keep their Spider-Man, Miles, which already
So
has.
wait, then
It's like-
you love No Way Home where there were 3 Spider-Mans?
Yeah,
That shit was fire. That's
That's
why
what
as
he
a,
this
thought.
as a,
Peter
as a,
and
as a
Miles.
20-minute scene, but not
that wasn't. Yeah,
but
it
not
wasn't like they were
Spider-Man
gonna stay.
MCU having his own movie.
hello, the
Bro,
King the
they're
Conqueror
testing the
is coming.
storylines out right now with the games.
Kang the Conqueror is coming, and there's thousands and millions
But-
of him.
But
So who's
is
going
he?
to defeat him? All the Spider-Mans. They got their own little thing
Oh,
going.
Spider-Mans.
Yeah, you don't see that coming. Y'all
Spider-Man.
can't see
Spider-Verse TVA.
Spider-Man's women, all of that. Spider horses, spider dinosaurs, spider
Hey,
Lego,
Dinosaur was dope.
spider pig.
Yo,
That was dope.
They coming. They coming into the world to beat up all the kings, because that's the only way they can win.
All right, let's move forward, man. I love Chloe. She's funny stuff. But all right, so after we get to the
Mark
party,
my words.
which we passed, what happens at the party is Gwen shows up at the well, showed up in his room after Miles gets sent to his room because he was he gets sent to his room, but he walked to his room because he didn't show up late and they're very disappointed in him. He got grounded, whatever. All right, so Gwen shows up. She's like, "Yo, you want to hang out?" This and the third. They start going around the city, but we see Gwen. We see Gwen is really on a mission, and she's like watching the spot. She got all this tech that she got from Miguel O'Hara. But Miles don't know about it because she kind of dipped up on him and shit like that. By the way, he ain't as good as Gwen yet, by the way. He can't even catch her, but that's not here nor there. But anyway, Miles, they hang out more, and they go back to the party, and his mom kind of sees it, and like, who is this girl, blah, 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 and then she leaves. So, Chloe, let me ask you about how you feel about Gwen showing up. And I guess they have like a daytime date, you can call it, I guess, with Miles and Gwen.
First of all, she called his parents by their first name.
Yeah,
culturally accurate. Number one, first and foremost. And then she gonna just show up in his bedroom like his mom. I don't know. That was interesting. That was an interesting scene. I also thought it was kind of weird. You know how people just show up in your life and they got an alternative motive, but you just so happy to see him. You just not even thinking about that. Like, oh, he didn't even question like, what are you doing here? He's just like, oh, I'm so happy to see you. Meanwhile, she on a whole side mission that she not supposed to be seeing him. So it was just like, okay, she's sneaking around being sneaky, and then she's pulling him back in, and then she's pulling him along into her plan, and didn't even tell him about it. So he's like an accomplice to something. He don't even know what's happening. So she putting his life in danger just because she wanted to see him. And then, I mean, I guess they had to see each other, but it was just interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, she not really his friend. Like, y'all friends, but y'all not really friends because your friend ain't gonna do that to you.
Hey, what are your thoughts on the whole thing?
We about to take your credit card information, Mike. Scammers. Scammers.
E, go next.
I'm about to buy a toaster. I'm about to buy me a $500 toaster, and I'm gonna get another Bosch hair dryer.
Oh my God. Yo. But yeah, I agree with you. I think she brought that upon him and herself, for real. Because if she know Miles is gonna start investigating and start checking stuff out, start getting involved, and she should have thought about that because that boy really about that Spider-Man life.
Mm-hmm.
She should have knew that from the first one. He about that life, so you bringing him towards it, he gonna jump right in. That's one. Two, I thought the dad would be more happy to see a shorty in his sunroom. You feel me? Like, me being a father, I'd have been like, oh, okay. Oh, that's why you were around here acting like this. Got a little hair in your nuts, huh? All right.
Like the first Transformers. I got you.
You trying to be a grandpa?
Yeah, right. Tell him, Chloe. See, I'm thinking things differently. I don't know how old his kids are. I don't know how old his kids are, but I'm thinking differently.
He trying to be a papa.
So I'm thinking like, oh. But that's how I felt about that part.
Mike, you had it reversed.
How you feel about Gwen showing up?
So Una reverse card at him.
Hey, yo, I thought the commercial was on.
About to start voguing. You know that the meme was like
Go ahead, Josh.
But yeah, I thought it was a great visual how they, travel to different universe or Spider-Verses. So I thought that was cool, and them being able to explain everything. Yeah, I do agree. I feel like, they had to use the demographic of Spider-Man because usually you're a high schooler, so you're gonna make these dumbass decisions like sneaking out, do all that. So I feel like it was very authentic for the characters to have this teenage rebellion era in their lives, and you were superheroes, which adds another aspect to the duality of being a superhero that is supposed to be anonymous. So I thought that was great how they would essentially risk it all, right? Just like those memes that say willing to risk it all. Yeah, even the fate of the Spider-Verse, the multiverse, etc. So I thought that that teenage recklessness was right on point.
That's fair.
No, I agree.
You think about it in that way.
Yeah, I jump in there. You know, I used to be a co-host with Mike. Yeah, I think I agree with Josh. I think it was cool that they made her say, "Oh, so Miles can't come out, but can Spider-Man?" And it was like he at this point he was like, "All right, you got me, right?" And so then he jumps out and he hangs out. And it was cool that they, you know, she was trying to fill him in with some stuff, but also like Chloe was saying, keep it a secret, you know. And as your viewer, you're watching it and you don't know yet it's a secret, but you're like, okay, it seems a little weird. Like, where's she been all this time? But okay, cool. And but that was a good scene.
Right.
Now, as far as the parents scene, yeah, first of all, the mom and them, they had that talk earlier. Oh yeah, I don't like people using my my first name. And so she just happened to do what they didn't like. And it was like, and the mom was like, what? And so, and me, I have to be the opposite. No, I ain't cool with no girl being in my son's room. First of all, he's 15. Second of all, some girl gonna be in your room, that door gonna be open. And first of all, if the girl gonna be in your room, she gotta get through me first for you to ask me because she be in your room. And third of all, I got a granddaughter, so no, it ain't that cool just having a kid get pregnant at a young age. So all that, I've been cool.
Weren't you married at 17, bro? Like
I was
married. He was married though. He wasn't sneaking her in here.
And Mike, this is what gives you wisdom: is your own mistakes. See, that's silly when you be like, wasn't you? Like, that don't mean that's what you gonna do. I fell on my face, so you won't fall on your face. But yeah, so but yeah, I think it was a good scene.
All right, let me get
you know, whole soul crack. So hopefully you won't have to go through that. Tell him, Tom.
For real, man. Listen, I used to tell my son, a wise man learns off his mistakes. The wiser man learns off the mistakes of others.
So you're a grandpa?
Yes, I am.
Grandpa.
And mind you, today is my daughter's, which we were talking about, is my daughter's baby shower. So she's having another kid on July 9th. So everybody's about to leave and go to the baby shower today, which I don't go because I'm, you know.
How old is your first grandchild?
She's about to be 6 next month.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wait, so how old were you when you became a grandpa?
This was 6 years ago. So I guess I was 40. Yeah, right. 40. No, 41.
At least you weren't in your 30s.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. But my daughter still was 17. She was just about to turn 18. So it was not cool when I found out. You know what I mean? I was like, damn, you ain't even graduate high school. You still, you know what I mean? I was very embarrassed. You know, for a minute, it was a hard thing. Anyway, we don't need it.
True. Off top of my grandma became my grandma at 31. So yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
31.
Yeah.
So, could you imagine going that day like, I gotta go pick up my grandkid?
Yeah, right. You 31 years old.
Hey.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It wasn't from my mom either. Like it was from my aunt. She had a kid. My grandma 31 or not. And then
man.
But anyway, what was I gonna say? Okay, so I felt like I was happy to see Gwen and Miles back together. Obviously, they were both thinking about each other. I think they made an OD with Miles drawing her in the book so many fucking times. Like,
that was crazy.
He likes him some Gwen.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like,
he missed her though. He missed her. He missed her.
A lot of drawings, bro. Like,
he ain't even draw Peter. That nigga.
You ain't draw no Peter.
100 times. Like that. So, I'm with. I don't know. I think both, especially a mom and dad, finding a girl in the room at that age. That's kind of crazy, actually. You know what I mean? I kind of agree with Tony on that one. Like I said before, the whole cake scene was a little weird to me. And the party, I guess it was. I don't know. A lot of that is kind of plot devicey because I feel like his parents got really, really mad, like grounded him for months, like. Off that, I feel like damn, like I mean, so I felt like a lot of that.
It was an accumulation, right?
Was it though?
Yeah, because he showed up late to the thing that he left. He was having him.
He was getting great grades. He got a B in Spanish. His worst grade is a B in Spanish. Like
she wasn't happy about that B. She was pissed off.
It was a B in Spanish. You know what I'm saying?
She was mad.
Right. I'm just saying. I felt like. Go ahead, Josh. I
was just saying. You know, again, I'm not a parent, so I can't say. But usually, it's typically the overall bad behavior. But
to get grounded, that's not bad behavior. He was just late to get grounded for 3 months for that.
I mean, to be chronically late at that age is not a habit you want.
I feel bad for y'all kids.
And hold up, Mike. He was grounded for 1 month first. She added on to it.
That's okay. That's the overall result is a lot
because he wasn't taking it serious.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, okay. Anyway, but as far as the Gwen and stuff, I felt like it was a weird spot for her. Obviously, she missed him and she liked him, but I think she was like, I can't tell him what's going on because of Miguel O'Hara and what's going on with him and stuff like that. So I thought that was interesting. I thought, and at the end, well, let me get to that next. So the next scene we got, he follows her. Let me get to that, and they wound up using the technology to see what the Spot's plans was. Miguel O'Hara's tech. We'll get to that too, and stuff. And then Jessica comes in. And like, yo, what you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. So Jessica has been serving as her mentor, which I want to get into as well. And kind of being like, I guess, kind of her surrogate mom, because she lost her mom a long time ago. And then they decide, okay, we got to go after the Spot because of what he's trying to do to the multiverse. And then Miles, who was invisible, follows them. So, Chloe, let me get to you about what you think about Jessica being her mentor, and then them and Miles hiding and then following them and stuff like that.
I'm just a little confused. Like, how many months was it since the first event to when she seen Spider-Man? I mean, when she seen Miles Morales.
I think she said like 3 or 4 months. Like 4 months, I think she said.
So why the girl still pregnant? She must be about to pop, unless they got special time to be pregnant.
I thought so too. Yeah, I was like,
I'm like, dang, she's still pregnant.
Yeah.
So that was my first thought. My second thought was like, I mean, Miles, he should have known something was up. Obviously, his spidey senses should have been tingling. But he found, like, him following her, that's when I realized that he could go invisible, because I kind of forgot about that power. And then it reminded me of the scene, because he was upside down. It reminded me of when Peter Parker kissed Mary Jane in the upside down kiss. I thought they were, I think that was like a little tease to that. Yeah, like a little thing. And then obviously he was going to follow her because he's invisible. Like, I don't know what she thought he was going to do. Like, it just seemed crazy to me. Like, and the part that was really crazy to me, I think we kind of glanced over a little bit, was her job was to go check out the Spot. She leaves a device and then goes hang out with Peter, which is what kids would do. But it's like, girl, you could have did both. Like, you could have been like, yo, come with me real quick. I got to do this. We can still chill. And then, handle her business. But
yeah, but she didn't want him to know. So if she couldn't have invited him.
But then if she didn't want him to know, she shouldn't have gone and visit him, because she knew he was going.
She missed him though.
That's the thing, yeah.
Since you already talking, Tony, go ahead. So how you felt about that and leading up to them him following him?
It was just cool because it added more context. It was like the story was getting deeper, right? Mm-hmm. And now you was realizing, like, oh wait, Spot might be a threat. Like, Spot was a loser. Like, my man got bread falling through him. It was silly. He couldn't steal an ATM machine. But man, look at his plans and what he want to do. I mean, I don't have too much. At this point, all my issues with the movie, they was just getting rid of them, and I was just more and more invested. And the movie was just getting better and better and better to me.
Yeah, we're about to transition to another part of the movie.
Wait, was this after the reveal of what his powers could actually do?
Whose powers? Spot.
Well,
the reveal was that, like, him when Miles was invisible, and them the AI person from Miles, Miguel O'Hara, talking to Gwen and Jessica about like what Spot's really doing. That was the reveal.
But see, I thought that wasn't the reveal. I thought I could be wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of a part.
That was his plans, I should say, not the reveal.
His plans, but like to reveal, like to Tony's point, the context kind of came before then, how dangerous he was. Because didn't they show him going through his own Spot? Because he kicked his butt through the Spot. Yeah. And then that's when he went to the different worlds and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And you could see that's when he figured out, oh wait, I need to go get this collider. Super collider. That's the part. So we knew he was already a threat when she was tiptoeing around.
Well, we knew because we saw him by himself, the Spot, doing all this shit, going to all these different places.
Yeah.
Which I kind of skipped over. And I should get back to that. I'm gonna let E talk about that. Going to all the different worlds, the Lego world and the old time world. So yeah, how you felt about that part? The Spot reveal, like how powerful he was, and going on.
Yo, I thought that part was fire. Yo, I really did, especially when he went to the Lego world, and the fact that Lego Peter was on it like that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Lego Peter. Lego Peter was on it. Yo, he was on it. Hey. Yo, I was like, yo. he top notch. He top notch Spider-Man right there. I
Yeah.
love that scene. That shit was
So,
fire.
Josh, I'm gonna bring you here. How you feel about, I guess, those two parts showing the spots, how powerful he was, and his actual plans, and then, like I said, Miguel O'Hara sent his AI tech to kind of, reveal everything, and Jessica Drew with Gwen as well. So,
Spot reminded me a lot of America Chavez, so that was interesting. And in terms of power set, right?
yeah.
And then combining that with what I was trying to say before, but the king of entertainment wouldn't allow me to say it. It's the fact
make it entertaining, bro. I gotta make it
it's the fact
entertaining.
that you're a multiversal, intellect, and you're super intelligent, and then you have that ability, and you also have revenge. It's like the perfect background for a supervillain with super intelligence.
I agree with that as well. All right, so let's move on. Let's jump to the next part of the movie. That's Spider-Man and when they're in Mumbai, and we got the Indian Spider-Man, so to speak. And I forget his exact name. Forgive me, so I won't be able to remember that or say it. But we see like he's similar. He's got a girl. The girl's dad is a cop. The cop is kind of don't like Spider-Man in that world. And we see that he's just like very cool, calm, collective though, in the way he approaches things. He's not very like stressed at all. And we see that they're chasing the spot in that world. And well, I'll be going detail for detail. You guys can fill it in. But we see this whole thing transpire where Miles has to save the cop, the girl's dad, which sets off the events. So Tony, why don't you fill in and see how you thought about the whole Indian scene there?
I think it was cool is just growing up, right? It's always for me, it was always black, white, black, white, black, white. Like, oh, people are mad because you're black. People are mad because people are white, right? And so I personally love it where other cultures come in. All right, later. And then this white woman just walking here. Well, what's going on, man? So, but no, I love it. I thought that was cool that they chose the Indian guy and his whole world. I just love when I loved when what's her name? Miss Marvel was the Indian girl and all that. So I just like when these other cultures get to shine. And
Pakistani,
yep.
Pakistani, yep.
Yep. Yeah. So I just thought that was cool. Because they could have chose any Spider-Man since he got 80 billion of them. So it was cool that they took his area. It's cool his similarities, the girl he's into, and they gave briefly his backstory. But I also thought it was cool that they kept talking about the English Spider-Man, and Miles was like, "Who is this dude?" And he's like, "Oh, you didn't meet him yet?" And so like in his head, he's like, "Wait, she slept at his house?" And like it was like kind of mentioning like he had his jealousies, like who is this dude? And then he ended up showing up. Yeah. And I thought he was pretty cool with his accent and everything, and he got the guitar. And I was just like, for me, right, typically I would have been like, this is too silly. But they were just pulling it together, even to back up with the Lego. Like I was just like, yo, I was all into like they was able to pull me into typically what wouldn't be my thing, and they just was doing it right for me. So I was really invested in everything. I thought it was all cool. It was all coming together really good for me. All the characters and their little backstories, it was just all coming together good.
Hey, how you feel about the whole Mumbai scene of the Indian Spider-Man?
Well, I loved it because I'm a guy that like adventures. You get what I'm saying? So just seeing something different, a different Spider-Man, that was fire. The fact that Miles saved his what was that, the cop, right?
Yeah.
I thought he was the mayor at first, but yeah, it was the cop. He saved the cop. That was it just showed his leadership. And that's why he was wondering why he ain't have a band in the first place, because he nice at what he do, being the Spider-Man. Top notch. Again, top notch. Pulling everybody together.
Top notch. Chloe, Spider-Man in India and the whole Mumbai scene. How you felt about that?
I like the multiverse. So I like seeing different renditions of like what we consider to be normal. Mm-hmm. So for that was like, oh, this is an interesting take on New York. If it was called, what was it, Mumbai? What was it?
Manhattan.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Manhattan.
Which was kind of cool, and like to speak to diversity and inclusivity. I think that they're learning how to be more intentional about it, in a very nuanced way. It didn't feel forced to me. It just felt like, oh, this is Spider-Man over here. But I'm sure if I was a part of that culture, I would have appreciated that. Like, I'm curious to see, like, oh, is there a Spider-Man in Wakanda or something like, or like, a nation that looks like that. So it kind of just shows you like the range of possibilities with the multiverse. And back to like America, that's her name,
Yeah.
American China. Like when she fell through like the different universes and stuff, it was dope to see like, wow, it can be anything. It could be a paper universe. It could be like paint. It could be Legos. It could be the actual like live action. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. The difference is though, because I think live action is kind of, I guess, a lot harder, but and like America just kept falling through, but she didn't stay in a lot of them and stuff like that, so we didn't see her for a long time. This we got to experience it for a long time, so I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
A longer time. Like like I'm ready for them to do like a series on like Disney where we're in the different universes, like kind of like the What If series, but just more like what's happening in the different universes at the same time.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. Josh, your thoughts on the whole thing too, as well?
Yeah, that is a great idea, by the way. And for me, it reminded me of Big Mike, actually, because I know you're a big proponent of Peter Parker or the Spider-Man specifically being in New York City. Yes. So the Manhattan kind of confirmed that it probably is canon that the Spider-Man has to be in a New York City area. So in this multiverse, I guess India discovered America.
Yeah.
Right. And so on and so forth, that led to Manhattan. So I thought that was very clever, demographics, of course, but also for the storyline and how, you're seeing canon events, and we'll see why that's important later. So I thought that was cool.
Well, Josh, you know what's funny? Let me just say Josh real quick. There's a bunch of gamers now that's having backlash for the Spider-Man 2 game because he's still in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's how it started. That's how we started talking. In the chat that you left, we had a whole conversation about that.
Yeah.
And I said, and that's why I said, like, I feel like it's a problem because I feel like I like Spider-Man in New York City. And I was about to say, stuff in this movie is why I like it. The bodega scene, right, in the beginning. Him going through the subway with the cakes and stuff like that. They don't like the cakes part at all. And then this Manhattan part, it's like, it's authentic for Spider-Man and stuff to be in New York City. Because he, like, more than any other hero, I feel like, interacts with the people of the city. You know what I mean? Like, he worked for the Daily Bugle, stuff like that. So, and then, even if you, but we'll get to the end, I know. But just to spoil it, you see what happens when there's no Spider-Man in New York City, right? We'll get to that. So, I feel like that's why it's important to me, But for the Manhattan part, I thought it was cool as all. Well, I like how his powers were. I like how they show all the powers being different from the other one. I like how he had the little, I don't know what they're called, but the little Indian bracelets, stuff like that.
Oh, that was really cool.
Yeah. As a part of it, forgive me because I don't know what they're called exactly, but
those are the same cuffs that they had in what's her name?
Miss Marvel.
Yeah, Miss Marvel.
Yeah. I don't know what they're called, but I think that was pretty cool. And to Tony's point, when they introduced what's the London's guy name? Spider-Man.
I like him.
Yeah, I know his exact name, but
Daniel Kaluuya.
That was Daniel Kaluuya doing
it. It was, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was. But I using his real voice finally, not like no fake voice. But I thought that was dope, and the fact that and you talked about him getting jealous, Tony, because she was hanging with him, but also she said he gave her some new sneakers because she didn't have those sneakers before and stuff like that. But it also made Miles jealous as well. So I thought that was cool. But anyway, this event is what kind of triggers more of the plot. Because now Jessica Drew comes to help them clean it up, and they say that Miguel O'Hara, Spider-Man 2099, wants to see all of them. He wants to see all of them in his office, and now we get to go to a new world. So we go to his world. Miguel O'Hara's, we kind of get his backstory about what happened with him and his daughter and stuff like that. And then as he's walking through Miles, he starts to see all these different Spider-Man initially, and then he gets kind of chastised about by him saving the cop. It wasn't able, the Spider-Man, Indian Spider-Man, wasn't able to have that death that will help him become a better Spider-Man. And I'm gonna start right there. Tony, how you felt about it up to that part?
So it's funny because Big E was like, I'm saying Big E Money was like, Oh,
You
Spider-Man's a
think about
G.
wrestling over there?
I know, for real. He was like, Spider-Man's a G. Spider-Man's leader. I'm like, no, he was a retard because he wasn't supposed to do that. But he didn't know, you know what I mean? But he's from another world, so in that world, he just know to try to save people. But at the end of the day, he dropped the ball. That's why he didn't get no damn bracelet, you know. But it was deep to put it together, and you start thinking like, oh yeah, you think of Peter died, you think there's always on the, you know, for the Spider Woman, Spider Girl, and so you think like, or Spider Gwen, whatever. So it's like, oh man, I put it in perspective of like, oh man, like it got deep at that point. Like certain people are supposed to die in order to propel Spider-Man to be what he's supposed to be. And it was like, oh wow. And then do we talk about this when he find out who's supposed to die in his world?
No, we ain't get to that yet. That's why I stopped
Okay.
right there.
But any well, so just the introduction of all these different Spider-Mans in 2099, where they pretty much they hang out. Plus, he realized that Gwen was lying to him. She said, "Oh, it's about 5 of us."
Yeah.
And he get there, and it's like hundreds of them, you know. So, but yeah,
Let me skip to Josh this
scene,
time. Seeing Miguel O'Hara's world, all the advanced technology that's going on there, introduction to that location, I guess, where he works out of and stuff like that, and some of the different Spider-Man at this point. How you felt about that, Josh?
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic. How Sony gave their own version of the Spider-Verse as opposed to the MCU multiverse. So I thought that was very cool. That is, specifically about spiders. Maybe that's one of the reasons it was somewhat stable until what we'll get into later. But at the same time, it did remind me of the TVA, as I said before. But as we all know, with time travel or going to different multiverses, that has consequences, because the more you impact that world that you're supposed to be living next to, it's a side-by-side universe. But when you start going into a different universe and impact it, that can cause an incursion, as we know in the MCU. So I thought that was interesting how all of Miles' actions when he was being an authentic Spider-Man actually is causing disruption. So I thought that was very interesting. The thing that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man is actually causing, a Spider-Verse incursion.
Let me go to Chloe. How you felt about when they got to Miguel O'Hara's world in that futuristic time and seeing all different Spider-Man and stuff like that? So.
I just wanted to see the different Spider-Man or people or things like that. That to me, I was just trying to be very like aware of like all the different ones. So like just like the multiverse, I think that's what intrigued me about that scene.
And what about when Miguel was telling him that he wasn't supposed to save the cop and stuff, and that can cause, I guess this world's incursion. I don't know what we call over here, but
I mean, obviously he's like that world's Doctor Strange, right? And then it's just a lot of parallels to what's going on in all the other universes at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think like it just further pushed the fact that this is going to be an MCU. And number 2, it kind of continues for me the Loki story, because all of this stuff happened after Loki, season finale. Like this is not before that happened. So this is after the timeline wreaked havoc, and now look at all these the implications that we didn't get to in Loki, but we're seeing in real time in other universes.
Okay. E, how you felt about that?
All right, so first I didn't think his actions impacted anything. I think the spot had something to do with that, if I wasn't mistaken, right? That was the spot that left that big black hole down there. I don't think that was Spider-Man's actions at all, because of his actions of saving that guy didn't stop anything. I think showing that teamwork and saving that guy it's probably going to make the, what is he, a Hindu, right? Hindu Spider-Man? Yeah, Hindu Spider-Man even better than seeing that man die.
I don't agree, because I think what Tony said earlier, I think that, it's bad what Miguel wound up telling him, but I think they all need that loss to become a better Spider-Man. I thought, Peter lost Uncle Ben, made him who he was. I think even the loss for Gwen, like they said before, even we just saw Tom Holland Spider-Man lose Aunt May. I think it's just like, it's unfortunate, but I think that loss it's like a part of their story.
But at the same time, he already had that loss with his uncle.
Yeah.
Right. So why would he need another loss? That's what That's why I don't agree.
I was kind of
think the
confused.
Spot did that. I'm sorry. I thought the Spot did that, and even when Miguel told his story, right? And you seen how they were like, when Miguel said he messed up his timeline, how they were like fading away and stuff.
Yeah.
The Hindu Spot wasn't doing that.
I thought it was starting to do that.
That was because of the Spot,
it was just a black hole. That was because of the Spot.
Oh.
That dude wrong, I'm telling you.
But also, like, why would that random cop guy, wasn't that his girlfriend's dad?
Yeah,
that was his Gwen Stacy, right?
But if his girlfriend's dad died, how is that a canon event for him? Like, it would have to be his dad.
Well, he said, well, you know what? It is weird because first he said it got to be a loss. Then he said,
that's just shit.
A captain has to die. So it was kind of like a little bit of weird.
It was weird.
Yeah,
but that might, you don't know. Maybe his girlfriend might break up with him or something. Just remember, Spider-Man 2099 is in the future, so he knows things they don't know. He is from the future.
Yeah, so he's the TV.
He's working with Kang or Madam Web or somebody.
Yeah. But I can say, you know, we've seen this in storytelling before. Sometimes when these people are in the future, they don't always. It's not always correct. You know, I mean, there can be changes to the past. Stuff like that. So that's cool. And I like this whole thing because to me it all goes back to, it's weird, but it all goes back to like Back to the Future because it has like the same type of concept. Like if you do one thing at a certain place or a different timeline, it can affect the future timeline.
Consequences, like absolutely.
Right. So I love that because that's like one of my favorite movies ever. So I love seeing how it always like comes back to like that's like their point of like how it should be done because they know how like that type of travel should be done before. So I think that's pretty dope. But anyway, at this time he does run back into his boy Peter B. Parker, and now he got a baby and stuff like that. You know, he also worked with them with the same group that Miguel O'Hara is running and stuff like that. Jessica Drew, she seemed to be like cool, but she like all about Miguel's agenda. Like, listen, I'm rolling with him and stuff like that. So she's kind of a little weird to me as well. But when they tell Miles that a captain has to die, and then you know, one of those captains, his dad about to become captain or whatever soon. That's when Miles. Come on, Josie. Whatever. That's what Miles was like. I can do both. I can save my dad and make sure that it doesn't mess up the universe or the multiverse, stuff like that. And they don't buy it, and they try to lock him up, and all hell breaks loose. And now you get chased by all these Spider-Men before he can get back. So let me holler at Josh. How you felt about that at that point? So,
you know what I was saying in my head: selective morality. Like you have the whole leader doing the pot kettle, and then you're gonna get mad at him for doing that as well. And then it's like he is a Spider-Man. He has earned his stripes. Right. Peter B. Parker will, verify that, as will Gwen, as I'm sure y'all can with y'all technology. Surely, if you tell him the context prior to, you would have a better outcome. So, from my perspective, this is on Miguel O'Hara. You earned this happening to you because you didn't trust one of your own. You literally trust every other Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse besides Miles, besides leveling with him. So you're again, it's because of your emotional decisions, you're impacting everything else because you're not actually being an effective leader who's actually giving people an opportunity to be good because they are Spider-Man. So to me, a lot of it is on him personally.
Yeah. Also, I meant to drop up on a point when they do try to lock Miles up and keep him from going back to save his dad. The London Spider-Man was like, "I ain't with this." He kind of dipped and threw back his watch, like, "Nah, I'm not with this," stuff like that. So I want to add that into the end as well. But Tony, since you're back and got the dog under control, how you felt about them kind of that whole scene? They're telling them that Captain has to die, and then all hell breaking loose, and also with the London Spider-Man not being with it, stuff like that.
I think it was a good scene because it leads up to it adds that extra turmoil, right? You got all these Spider-Mans. You figure if they're on the same side, the movie's just gonna go smooth because they're all on the same side. This throws that monkey in a wrench, like, oh wait, there's a main villain, but at the same time, he kind of got a sub-villain, which is Spider-Man 2099, and he got to go against all of them because it doesn't matter what they say. A captain has to die. This is personal to him. and he has to, this is my dad. Like,
Right.
I don't care what y'all say, I gotta, and it's cool because he says, but how do you know if he's saved? That's gonna, not make things turn out right. So he's like, I'm gonna try to find out. I think what was cool was the British guy. His whole thing was he's against the he's always against the
Anti-establishment.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool. It was easy for him to be like, you know what, forget this. And
Yeah.
that was it. Probably, I feel like his character probably wanted to do this for a long time, and this gave him that. You know what? I'm out. So he played a big part in that. But man, like I said, at this point, the movie was just doing everything right for me personally, and I thought that scene was really good because I didn't picture it happening. I pictured a typical linear movie. You got your bad guy. In this case, usually bad guys are more powerful than the villain, than the hero lose, and the villain got to come back and figure out how to beat him. This made the villain weak, and then he had to find his strength, and then now the hero had to find his strength. But it was like, we're gonna throw a sidebar in there and make the hero got to protect his own dad from the other heroes, and that was cool.
And I think it also caused a moral compass between all the different heroes. Like, is Miles right, or do we follow Miguel O'Hara? You know what I mean? And I think, like, you see, like,
Right.
Gwen and Peter B. At first, like, Miles, nah, just chill. This got to happen. But then it kind of like, we'll see later, like, kind of like, nah. So I kind of like this whole. It makes you think on all sides. But E, go ahead. Why you jumping? I'll save you last, Chloe. E, why you jumping there about that whole scene?
So I like that scene, but my problem was, all right. So remember when the what is it, the New England Spider-Man?
Hobie Brown. That's
was
his name.
it?
Yeah.
All right, Hobie Brown Spider-Man threw his thing out and
Yeah.
said he not with it, right?
Yeah.
So where did Gwen get hers from?
It was like so he figured out how to make his own over time. It was like a bootleg version of it and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was so confused on that.
He had been figuring out how does it work, and then he figured out he made one on his own.
And remember when
And he made
Gwen
one
said
of-
earlier, they got little cheap ones. She says it's like a day pass. So people
Right.
had those too.
That too, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, let me jump to Chloe. How you felt about the fact that they told him about his dad had to die and try to keep him from saving him and stuff like that, and all hell breaking loose and them chasing him and stuff like that. So.
I mean, if they was really about the cause, they wouldn't have told him that. Because his dad was about to die in like 2 days. Like, why would you tell him? like if it was that big of a deal, wouldn't you just be like, oh, okay, like you could just hang out here for a couple days. Here's a full day pass. Have a drink at the spa. Like,
Yeah, but you know what though?
chill.
Imagine if they didn't tell him and then he found out. He might not be Spider-Man no more. They needed him to be Spider-Man. That might totally change him.
Nah, but it changed him. If somebody tell you got to stay here while your dad get killed, and we're going to prevent you from going, how does that change him any more than not telling him?
Yeah, because you got the knowledge, though. It's not like they went behind his back. You know what I mean? I think it'd be.
They did go behind his back because everybody knew, and that was another part that I didn't like. Like everybody knew, like Gwen, his best friend, Peter Parker, his mentor. They all knew that he wasn't supposed to be. Basically Miles was like the black sheep. They knew he had to be demolished because his existence, from what I understood from the movie, his existence caused all the chaos because he got bit from a different spider from a different universe.
I mean, his existence caused
that one universe
to have chaos. Yes, but it's okay if he's Spider-Man. But as Spider-Man, they were saying you got to let somebody die, like your dad died.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Nah, that's not.
But to your point, Chloe, I think the crazy thing was that they all knew his dad was supposed to die. So to your point, at first they didn't tell him, and then they decided because he was like, "Wait, you knew?" And Gwen was like, "Damn." So they did know his dad was gonna die, and they didn't tell him at first. But now that he ended up, because if he never came there, it was no reason for them to even tell him.
Exactly.
But now the fact that he was there, then it was like, all right, you're already here. You know all this is happening. You just found out that a captain, you just saved dude when he's supposed to die, and then it was kind of like, oh, a captain got to die. He's like, wait, my dad about to be captain. It was like, all right, well, cat's out the bag.
So Gwen didn't know her dad was supposed to die too?
Her dad not supposed to die. Her event was Peter. No. I'm sorry. Her dad.
turned down being a captain.
Yeah, stop being captain. He turned out. Yeah, he left the force.
But she didn't know that. That wasn't revealed till later. So the whole time she knew her dad was going to die.
Yeah, she was going to let him die. Yeah.
So she was down with the cause.
And he was down with arresting her. Like father, like daughter.
Wow, full circle. But the reason why she was down was because I guess she was sold from Jessica Drew, who was her mentor, mostly, and then Miguel, that this has to happen in order for the whole universe to work out and stuff like that. So
see, they ain't fit right with me. Like, first of all, he's a special Spider-Man. He know he's special. And I wouldn't listen to nobody. They shouldn't have told him. If it was that important for his dad to die, because he was already Spider-Man. So if it was that important for his dad to die, they shouldn't have told him nothing. It just didn't sit right with me.
You know what, Chloe? They see the Spider-Mans that got the bracelet was the heartless Spider-Man. Spider-Man's that
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know why they made Jessica Drew so down for the cause. You know, like, come on, man.
I understand why they would be down for the cause, because sometimes you just believe people like, oh wait, I don't want my whole universe to die, so I'll sacrifice my parent for the entire universe. Because the way that he told the story was that, but that's not even how it went. Like, didn't his wife die and then he went to another universe and adopted the family?
Well, his is different. You're right. That's why I say it's all different. So he felt like I messed up this universe by not letting. I guess the whole thing is not letting the event play out like it's supposed to happen.
But they did play out because his wife died and then he just went to another universe.
But in that universe he went to, he replaced himself. He wasn't supposed to do that.
But what I'm saying is the canon event wasn't what caused the demise of the universe. What caused the demise of the universe was the fact that he was in a universe that he wasn't supposed to be in.
So it didn't play out like it was supposed to happen because he died, right, in that universe, and then he replaced himself. So the family didn't mourn him because he was there. So it didn't happen like it was supposed to happen.
But no, it wasn't about the mourning. It was about like the what's it called? Incursion. Remember when America said I'm the only person who could jump through these hoops? And if somebody's in another person's planet too long, then the incursion happens.
So in that universe, he died, right? The one he replaced himself in, right? So he replaced himself, which means he did not allow that world to be without him, which means you change the events of that world right away.
I know Chloe's talking about. Chloe's backing up a little bit. She's just saying in his world before he left, he did,
his original world.
Yeah, that's what Chloe's saying is he lost somebody. So shouldn't that played out the way it should have played out?
But world
what
was
Mike
fine.
is saying that he couldn't even handle it. He couldn't handle the fact that he had his loss, so he went somewhere else so he could play it himself. Because in that other world, they lost him.
But what I'm saying is the way that he explained the story was not correct. When he went through the whole breakdown with Peter, with Miles Morales and why people follow him and his mission was because we need to prevent a canon event from happening. We need to allow a canon event from happening so that the world doesn't implode on itself.
Right.
But that's not why his world imploded. His world imploded because he went to someone else's world. It's not because
that would be his new world because he went to someone else's world as himself. And that world imploded. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is he blamed it on the canon event not happening. But if you really look at it, it wasn't because the canon event didn't happen. It was because he was in another universe he wasn't supposed to be in.
That means it didn't happen because the canon event was him dying and not being in that universe. If he's there, that means it didn't happen. He took over his own self.
Back up, Mike. She's talking about his original universe. Explain that part.
His original universe was fine. His wife died and nothing happened to the universe. Stuff like
Mike, the reason why, let's take canon events out of it, right? Forget a canon event. A canon event is just a word.
Okay.
If you look at Marvel Universe and Doctor Strange and America Chavez, the whole reason why incursion happened was not because of canon events. It was because when you went to another timeline and you're not supposed to be there, an incursion happened. Correct? So what I'm saying is he got everyone to follow him by saying, if a canon event doesn't happen, the world's going to implode. And he even used the phrase.
No. And Doctor Strange, it was because he was trying to
save. Listen. Follow me. Okay. That was the context.
It's not me now.
That was the context. What I'm saying is, when we went to this world, the dude, the main spider dude, who's like, follow me. We need to let canon events happen. he told his backstory as if the canon event caused the incursion, but that really wasn't what caused the incursion. What caused the incursion was the fact that he was in another timeline. But he didn't want to say that.
Okay, so you're saying that I'm gonna let it go, but you're saying that
never mind. Forget it. Y'all will catch on when the next one come out.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Wait. You're with her?
Yeah, because she's just saying that what he explained wasn't what happened. Mike, so you keep going to the new world. Chloe's saying his original world, he lost his wife. That's you supposed to have a loss. So, bro, your whole planet should have been good. You know, because you had that loss. But I think what you're saying is, but he couldn't handle it, so he decided to leave.
But his original world was good. Nothing happened in his original world. He had the loss, and his world was fine. Right?
I don't think y'all both are explaining what I'm saying wrong.
All right, let me
explain what you're saying right.
I'm going to Tony, right? He had his loss, right? His wife died. Okay. His world never had an incursion. His original world. It was fine, right? But then he couldn't handle not having his wife. So in the other multiverse, he died, and then he went there. So there's the event because he went there, so that world got the incursion. I'm trying to figure out.
It wasn't the canon event that caused the incursion. Is the fact that he was in a different universe.
That's the event, though. It's like chicken before the egg. We're saying the event is his going to the universe. Josh, you know what I'm saying, Josh?
No, what you were saying was the event was that he never died over there.
It's actually two chicken in the eggs because it was the 42 spider that bit Miles. So that spider also is causing incursions as well.
Correct. Technically, yes.
Let me ask you a question. Y'all just calling this incursions because
Marvel.
Because of the MCU.
Yeah, that's what
I was like, this is Tony, this isn't, but all right.
Well, I don't know what it's called, honestly, over there.
It's called an incursion. I mean, over there, he just said destruction.
And they even made fun of it. They said the arachna web, whatever. Oh, the Spiderverse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're doing the same thing just with the incursion. So we all know what it means. So come on.
My whole point of saying that was that he got people to follow him and allow canon events to happen because of his backstory.
But maybe maybe he thought that any action of that sort would cause these sort of, I guess, quote unquote incursions.
Because he don't know that you caused the incursion by being in another timeline, not because of the canon event. That's all I'm saying. Like,
listen, to be fair, Marvel just came up with the word incursion like one movie.
Oh, we're back on incursions now? Anyway, okay, moving forward. All right, so the chase happens. We see hundreds of Spider-Man. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. And he's getting around them and stuff like that. We got some funny parts in there. You know, they were on break or something like that, and they got to now chase him and stuff. He's going all through McGirl's world. You know, they're on the PA system saying, got to get Spider-Man, and they finally get to this. He stops and talks to Peter B. Parker, who not trying to capture him, trying to explain to him what's got to happen as his previous mentor. And we see Peter's baby and stuff like that as well, daughter.
That was cool.
And then we go through it. I'm sure people who are Spider-Man fans could point out all the different Spider-Man, which was dope. And we get to this train part where Miles actually outsmarted them and got them away from the center in order to be able to go back down and go back to his world. So just that part right there before he goes back, Josh, we'll go back to you. How you felt about the whole chase scene and stuff like that? So.
Oh, that was phenomenal. To use the Cowboys phrase, that was epic. What an epic chase scene. And I feel like it was so obvious what he was trying to do. But in the heat of the moment, it's like, they were all seeing red because they all kind of fear Miguel O'Hara because he's the leader, right? Yeah. So they're kind of like, he says jump, they're conditioned to say how high. So everyone was just like, oh, I'm gonna go catch Peter. Not Peter, Miles. I'm gonna catch Miles. I'm just gonna do this, and then not thinking like, oh yeah, who's gonna guard it? I was like, what? Why else would he be going that high? It just made it so. It made so much.
It was pretty smart. It was pretty smart. Let me get E back here. You be quiet. How you felt about the whole chase scene with all the different Spider people around him?
Man, all right. So first of all, the plan caught me off guard, but that just shows me right there again why he's a top-notch Spider-Man. and Peter's his teacher, right? With the baby, that Peter was his teacher.
Yeah.
All right. So Peter B got some skills then to teach him that shit to be able to maneuver like that.
He said he got that from Miles, me. He said I taught him that. Yeah.
Yeah, he taught him that, right? So that was pretty good. That was pretty dope. And seeing all the different Spider-Man, the one dude definitely looked like Peter. They all don't look alike. But the one dude definitely looked like Peter, Scarlet Spider.
Okay.
that's the one with the blonde hair and the
Yeah. Oh yeah.
About to help you out on that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
All right.
Ben Riley.
Yeah. Tony, how you feel about the whole chase scene?
So here's what's dope. Ben Riley, my brother is one of the biggest Spider-Man fans I know. So growing up, he was super into Spider-Man, read the comic books. Ben Riley, they had a story where Ben Riley was the original Spider-Man. So come to find out, Peter Parker's a clone of Ben Riley. So Ben Riley is the real Spider-Man, but Ben Riley was so popular and fans was upset. Like, hold up, all this time you mean to tell me Ben Riley is really the real Peter Parker? So then they rewrote it and made you find out that no, Peter Parker is the original. So Ben Riley, for me, growing up, hearing my brother always talk about Ben Riley when he was on his high of Ben Riley, and then he was on a down, like, oh wait, now he's not Spider-Man. When they showed him and mentioned him, I was like, oh snap, in my seat is Ben Riley, because that was dope. Because I don't remember any of this ever mentioning Ben Riley in any of the Spider-Mans or whatever. So that was really cool that Ben Riley was in it. My favorite dinosaur is a T-Rex. That was cool that a T-Rex was a Spider-Man. I was like, what? It was just so wild and over the top.
The cat was funny. The cat part was funny. Having cracking up.
Yeah, it was so wild and over the top, and the just this crazy chase. I didn't get what he was doing, so he got me, like E. But I also felt that his first time in his world. So how he even know to like do all, you know, oh, I'm gonna go all the way up and whatever. So it just worked out cool because I'm just watching it and not overthinking or feeling like I know what was gonna happen. I'm just following it, whatever's gonna happen. So it was really cool for me, the whole aha moment. It was a dope scene, man. It was cool. At this point, I'm already invested in whatever they was gonna throw at me, and I feel like they was doing everything to make me like it, even that I don't like silly stuff. But it was pulling it off really good. And I think also because I'm not heavily invested with Spider-Man, like the Spider-Man game came out 5 years ago, and I finally decided I wanted to play it. So I'm not a Spider-Man fan, but this movie was, as Josh coined my phrase, it was definitely epic. And just to say this to E, Money, Miles Morales is not a top-notch Spider-Man.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. We're not going back.
I mean, the scene kind of showed it, but okay.
But
my man got lucky at best.
Hold on. He learned it from Peter B. So I wasn't either. But nevertheless, Chloe, how you felt about the whole chase scene, stuff like that? I'm onto that, and him coming back.
I thought it was dope. Like, I liked the part where they, when they were running through, you saw the different scenes and just Spider people just being who they are, especially when he ran through the psychiatrist's office.
Oh yeah.
Like, let me guess, your Uncle John. That was funny. And then it was like callbacks to the other Spider people, like the Lego man was there, the Lego Spider-Man, he was in there. I thought it was cool, and I didn't know where he was going. I wasn't thinking like, oh, he going up to get, like, that threw me off guard. I thought it was dope, and it did speak to like how Miles is different. Like, he top notch. I don't know about Peter. All the Peter Parkers seem to have lost. Like, they ain't win. So
they ain't win what?
They ain't win what?
Catch him. How they couldn't catch him? You supposed to be this.
I don't think Peter B tried really
Spider-Man.
though. He was just like, I'm your boy, I'm a mentor, I'm gonna let you slide and stuff like that.
Yeah, I ain't like how his so-called friends, right?
But his friend let him go. Peter B let him go. He was like,
nah,
I'm not
I
gonna
ain't trying to hear that. You're not going to fake chase me. Like, we're not friends no more. Like, you are not my mentor. You're not going to sit there and tell me, oh, I had a kid because of you. And you, in the same token, you going to let my dad, you're not going to tell me my dad about to die. Like, it just, to me, it just was screaming fake friends. Like, if I was Miles Morales, like, after that chase, I ain't friends with nobody. Like, nobody.
You know what though, Chloe? I think their job was bigger than the friendship. That's what it comes down to. It's like, yeah, we friends.
I don't care. We not friends because you chasing me. You want to let my dad die. Then you want to come to my world. I could have just been chilling. It
like
just,
you said, Peter B kind of fake chased him though. He kind of like let him.
Nah, bro. Nah, you don't stand in a room and don't say nothing. even Gwen it was just giving fake. It was giving phony friends. Like, the whole time, I'm like, dang, she set him up like that. If he go with her,
I don't think you look at it the right way. I think you look at it like, okay, let's say if like I don't want to tell you what's going to happen to you because, you know, also I don't want you to know your dad going to die. You know what I mean?
That's selfish.
What?
The whole thing was selfish. And I'm the type of person, when you show me who you are, I ain't never forgetting it. Like I'm petty game. Like no,
I thought I was petty Pendergrass, Josh. I was close.
petty Pendergrass.
Yeah,
like
Chloe, I thought earlier,
Petty the Bell.
Yeah, you petty the bell.
Chloe,
Yeah.
I thought.
Listen,
Chloe,
I
I thought
don't have no
earlier-
friends after that chase. The only friend I had, and I hope he get with that black girl in real life.
yeah.
I hope, because she was the only one who had his back.
I thought earlier you said you didn't
He was
want
the
them to
only
tell.
one. Even the dude, the anarchist, he was about himself. He didn't care about Peter Parker. He didn't care about not a Peter Parker or a Miles Morales. He was just like, well, I'm off to do something I feel like doing. Like, he ain't had no investment in that chase. But to be my friend and you chasing me, then you want to try to distract me by telling me my daughter, I had a kid because of you. Like, I just didn't.
But he could have captured him right there. That's the whole point. He didn't. He
Mike, the whole point is you talking to me while I'm running from 1,000 Spider-Man. Like, what part are you missing? Like,
I'm not webbing you up though. I could be doing that, but I'm talking to you.
He can't do it because Miles Morales is more powerful than him.
He can web him
He got
up.
a baby on his chest. You think he cares? He's not doing it. Nah. That to me it was scream. It was like it's kind of like, to me it's like a parallel. Like, you ever see somebody who's not, like, say you're an up and coming rapper or something, right?
Okay.
And you telling your fam and your friends, oh, come to my show, come see me. They'd be like, oh yeah, man, I will come, but I gotta work. And then all of a sudden, now you famous. Now they take it off of work for weeks. Oh yeah, I always knew he was gonna be famous. Like, nah, bro. That
All right. Well, number one, I'm gonna say this. Okay, I see where you're coming from, Chloe, in that regard.
I see what you're
If we
coming
want to
from.
talk about powers, Miguel is better than all of them. Like, I watched the video of his power set.
He had a baby on his chest.
It was like 10 minutes long. No, not
He had a
Peter
baby.
B. But not him. I'm talking about Miguel O'Hara.
No, Miguel,
Like,
yeah, Spider-Man 2099.
Miguel
Oh my
even
god, he's
chase him?
super OG. Oh
He
my
chased
god.
him though,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, he did chase him.
And he got away. So he ain't that powerful.
Man.
No, but
and
he's
his
just
suit-
saying.
And his suit came right back on, like when he started chasing them again. Like, he could do so much shit. I was seeing the video. It's crazy.
Brains
But
over bronze.
I'm sure E know about Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know about
Did he get
Spider-Man
an A+ in
2099.
physics? Did he get an A+ in physics?
I don't know.
Because Miles Morales is smarter than him. Number
He
one.
was already an adult when he became Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara. So you don't know what he did to fit and stuff like that. So,
But what I'm saying is he old and he not as limber. That's why he had to get all the Spider-Man to chase him. Like, you can't tell me he's more powerful and he had to get the whole collective of Spider-Man. Like, if he was that powerful, he should have stayed back and been the final level. Like, you know,
Hey,
when
look,
you fight all
if
the
he-
levels, you
hey,
come
Chloe,
back.
If
You
he was
gotta
that
get them to
powerful,
do
he should have
that.
been able to beat the Vulture. I was like, oh wow, I thought he when
they
the
might have
Vulture was flying around
I
and he
think
popped
they
out.
did him like they did Doctor Strange and Spider-Man No Way Home. I think they kind of
Okay.
lower his power level a little bit
Yeah.
because he is.
Oh, now it's lower.
It is.
Oh,
bro.
so
I'm
you
telling
do admit Miles Morales got more power.
It's the same way that I thought Peter shouldn't be Doctor Strange. And
Now
Doctor Strange
it's
movie
lower.
whatever like that. I thought like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Come on, man.
Right.
Kind of lowered it. I was mad as hell about that in that movie and stuff like that. But anyway, no, it's
The same way how I
Chloe,
feel when Batman beat everybody.
Chloe, I'm telling you, when I see this video, you be like, yo, this dude is old.
Cool, he could be OG, but I ain't see that. It wasn't given what it was supposed to give. And Miles Morales, in my opinion, as a person who didn't see the context footage, I didn't see the background footage. Miles is winning.
Okay, all right. Anyway, moving
Where
forward.
he
Miles
lucky.
does. So, see your point. Miles does get away, but the DNA reads the Spider 42, the one that bit him. So he winds up going into Spider 42's world.
That was
42
deep.
being a
That
great
was
number
deep.
and stuff like that.
That was deep.
But nobody knows that at first. So when in the meantime, though, in the middle there, we do see Gwen, and they send her home because they felt like it's her fault, and so Miguel did anyway. So when she gets home, she tried to sneak in her crib, and her pops like catch her and stuff like that. And that's when he decides, okay, I'd rather leave the Force and let you handle the stuff than not have my daughter around and stuff.
And Chloe
then-
gets what she wants.
right. And then
Well, he left the but wait. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but just to piggyback off what Tony said about how he was losing his job for his kid. He left the job and his kid was in another universe.
Now you get what you wanted, though. Now
She
you
didn't
get what you
ask him to
wanted.
leave his
Now
job
you get what you wanted.
because he's a good dad. You feel me?
You get
He's
what you wanted.
snitching. Snitches get stitches, Tony.
Yeah, you was all on my man, and look what he did.
I wasn't on him. I just was like, oh, he gonna shoot her. Then he had to think about. He probably went home like, Dad, I almost killed my kid. Like, this is too stressful. I need to leave.
Mhm.
Okay, so since you're already talking, Tony.
All right.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Well, no, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna say, and then we do see that the British dude, what's his name, Hobie Brown. He dropped off his handmade watch for her and stuff like that. So that's in the middle of that whole thing. So let me do that first. Josh, how you felt about Gwen? Because I guess wrapping up her story with her dad when she gets back home. So.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he had enough time to come to his senses. So that makes sense.
Like 6 months,
right?
To a year.
I mean, again, unfortunately, he was a widower.
Yeah.
And then he lost his child to the multiverse. Because let's be honest, she didn't go back and keep tabs on him.
Nah,
she was just gone. Teenager stuff, right? So it was good to see he had his priorities right.
Yeah, I agree with that. I guess you were mad, Tony, when he came back and said, "I left the force."
Bro, I'm like, you know what's crazy? I don't know who got kids or don't got kids, but priorities are all messed up. First of all, when you going down in a plane, they tell you to put the mask on you, not your child. People quitting their jobs, so who's paying the bills? Oh, that's right, your kid don't have a job because they're a teenager. So I want to protect you, but I'm gonna put us on the street. Like, you know what? I don't know.
Again,
I don't know, bro.
Tony, you got to suspend your disbelief. Number one. Number two, in real life, he would retire and get that police pension, which is crazy.
Bro, you think?
And you
know what? You know what? I want to say, hold on, bro. Like Mike was talking earlier about kids, right?
Yeah.
You know, my daughter is going to summer school, right? And I told her, listen, you going to summer school again? Listen, from the date summer school start and end, you're with a word called grounded. You don't even ask me, could nobody come over? Could you go nowhere? That's parenting. But you know what? What do I know? I should just be like, you know what? Just go chill, hang out, because I just want you to be happy. Why don't you go put on a mask and be a vigilante and save the city, and then you could go to summer school and not be grounded because you're doing good for the.
Isn't summer school the punishment though itself?
Hell no!
No, you want extra
went
punishment.
To summer school because you was lacking in school. You should have never went to summer school. You thought you were just gonna go to school, have fun, hang with your friends, and make the summer school. No, you going to summer school and you grounded.
But Tony, if she was bringing home $3 million a year. And it had to go to summer school. You gotta keep that same energy.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all this.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Hell no. I was born in '76. This might be the difference. Yo, I got married at 18. Mostly everything in my life I earned, I did on my own. Like I had it rough, so I hate handouts. I never let my kids, if you get rich. But no, listen, if your heart says I want to do something for you, then cool. If not, I grew up just like you. I gotta work my life through just like you.
I'm comparing it because she's Spider-Man. It ain't like she's just a regular kid. She's Spider-Man. So let's equivalent that to the real world. Your kid is making mad bread.
No, hold up, stop.
Your kid's making enough money to take care of the family.
Your analogy is wrong. Every Spider-Man I know is broke.
They all broke.
They all broke. You ain't making a lot of money being Spider-Man.
I'm not talking.
What?
I know what analogy is.
Yeah, I get your point. It just wasn't a great analogy, but
I
do
not
get
at
your
all.
point.
It was if you allowed me to finish it, but that's for another time.
Let's get back to the movie.
All right,
like Josh said, this is needed. So back to the movie. It was cool. You know, she man, it was like the Fallout, right? The coolest thing was when you found out that he didn't go to Earth because
hold on.
Cool.
I didn't get there yet. I was going to talk about Gwen's world. At this time.
Oh, okay. All right. So Gwen's world, it's like, listen, he was mad. So you gotta go home now. You ain't part of the team. And so she go home, and I guess it was cool for her and her dad to piece things up. It was a shame that he lost his job over her that left. See, this is what kids do to you. I'm telling you, though, you put all your eggs in their basket, call your kid. This is why I don't like when people put their kids on pedestals. This is the definition of entitlement. Again, maybe I was born in '76. I don't know. But I watch kids become entitled because the parents put them on a pedestal. You got to be a parent and hold the household down because your kids eventually realize they're a kid and they did something stupid. But when you bow down to your kid, you bow down into the nonsense. Like me, right? My mom was strict. And I got mad at my mom. Guess what? The moment I moved out, now I'm getting married at 18 like a moron, right? Because that's what happens when you think you're grown. And when I got older, I was in my 30s. I used to always get mad at my mom. I was in my 30s. And something happened with my son, and it hit me. I was like, yo, my mom was actually right. All them years I was mad at my mom, and it hit me because guess what? My son was doing stuff I did. So now I realized, like, oh, snap. But anyway, long story short. So
I think at the end of the day, though, for him in the movie I'm talking about, I think at the end of the day, like Josh kind of said, he already don't have a wife, and now his daughter ran off literally because you didn't want to, I guess, hear her out. You tried to.
He pointed a gun at her.
Right, I didn't want to say that part, but yeah. So I feel like that now he's just like, I'm an old lonely captain. You know what I mean? Sitting here by myself. I think he just was like, I'd rather have my daughter back. Honestly, like I feel like in that particular thing.
Like, is it that bad that she saves the world? Like,
what world did she save?
So
what world did she save? I don't know what world she saved.
She did more saving than her father did. He a cop.
What world she saved?
I guess her world, like where she lives at.
But guess what? She left her world. So
yeah,
she left her world, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's a great point, Tony. That's a great point. Because then he probably seen while she was gone that he couldn't handle it.
What the fuck? Yeah, that they couldn't handle it. Right.
So his demeanor, the guy that would arrest his own daughter, without Spider-Woman, you think he would just quit? You would think he would want to? They needed him even more. That wouldn't make sense, given by the person.
He didn't do anything. He didn't realize that he couldn't. It's like a false sense of security. You know what I mean? Like he a cop with a gun, but he's dealing with like multi-universal creatures. They didn't just stop coming there because she left.
No. But do you think all the cops quit then? Is that you think it was no more cops in that universe then?
I think he quit.
I was wondering, like,
he knew who Spider-Woman was.
There's always cops in Spider-Man universe.
And he was the reason why she left. No, if you're the reason why the person who protecting the world planet left, of course you gonna quit. You like, dang, I really fumbled the bag. This ain't for me. I'm a bad cop. I told Spider-Man to leave.
He missed his daughter, but nevertheless, let's move on to Miles' world and stuff like that. All right, what we thought was so. Tony kind of alluded to it. So Gwen, once she gets the watch, she decides, okay, I'm going to go try to help Miles out. So we see this parallel, which is greatly directed, Miles in his bedroom, and what we think is Gwen outside of his bedroom. And so what we think is, Miles in his bedroom, and Gwen outside of his bedroom. So the mom comes in and stuff like that. He finally decides, you know what, I have to tell my mom who I really am. And then we think it's Gwen outside listening, right? And then the mom is like, he's like, I'm Spider-Man. And she's like, who? He's talking about stuff like that. So we're all like, at first, like, huh? You know what I mean? And then, you know, she's like, you having them dreams again or something like that, where a spider ate you or whatever, this and the third. And then we still see Gwen looking inside the house. So at this point, we still don't know what it is. And then finally, we see when Uncle Aaron is alive. And then he comes to the crib. And then when Gwen goes into the other house deeply, we see they're not in the same place. So that was kind of the reveal. And then, you know, we see that Uncle Aaron is alive, but his dad in that universe is dead. And I don't think Miles figured it out yet. And then again, in the other universe, we see Gwen talking to the parents. So let me just talk about the reveal before we get to what happens next. And I'll start with Edith. So how you felt about the reveal of all that happened in there, bro?
All right, so it caught me off guard because I really thought Gwen was outside the crib creeping up about the, you know what I mean? So it really got me. I'm not even going to front. And then the part where when the uncle came in and then he hugged him, that threw me off.
Yeah.
And the uncle still was acting mad weird and asking mad questions. So I was really trying to figure out what was going on at that point. And then when he was telling the mom, her reaction threw me off too completely. I was wondering where the dad was at. Then I was wondering what was taking Gwen so long getting in the crib. It didn't make, you know what I mean? It didn't make sense to me yet.
Yeah. Chloe, how was your thoughts on the whole reveal there?
I think that after the mom scene, I was like, during the mom scene, him talking to her, I was a little thrown off. But once I seen the uncle, I was like, oh yeah, the spider bit him and how to, like, that's when the dots started connecting. So I was like, oh, he's in the world where the spider bit him because the DNA sent him there. Because before that, I thought it was such a great plan because he's such a smart kid. that he was able to escape by hopping into the the cocoon thing. But
Get sent
Yeah,
home,
but he
right?
didn't
Yeah.
know that the DNA only read the spider's DNA, not his personal
he
DNA.
knew, he just didn't remember
It wasn't that top notch.
because they told him and he didn't remember. He was just trying to get out of there. I guess he was like anywhere better than here. Like,
Yeah, he learned that wasn't true though. but Josh, how you felt about the whole reveal part just in itself and stuff?
Oh yeah, that was very clever. As you said before, it was a wonderful illustration of that. Again, that duality, always a concept with Spider-Man. You know, any character, Peter or Miles, right, or whoever. So I thought that was
Right.
fantastic. And as E said, I gotta agree. They got me hook, line, and sinker.
Me
I
too.
can't cap. They got me completely. So that was wonderful by the director, the whole production team. And then again, the reveal, I was like, yeah, why is his mom responding like that?
mhm.
And then
Yeah.
as soon as Uncle Aaron walked through, I was like, Bob's your uncle, and there you go, number 42. So it made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, what happened to your braids? I'm like, what is she talking about? Like, it threw me off for a
Right.
while.
I was
Like,
I was like, huh?
yeah. But anyway, meanwhile, on the other side of town,
Hey, Mike, you skipped me, man.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought, man, you talk a lot the whole time. I forgot. But anyway, go ahead, man.
Listen, Chloe talked more than all of us. You ain't skip her. So listen,
All right, I'm sorry.
no, honestly-
I'm sorry.
Okay.
no, I think this was this was my favorite part of the whole movie. Like that aha moment, like, wait, what? Talking about braids, this, like, before the uncle came in, like Josh said, it was like, and E said, like, when the uncle walked in, I was like, wait, what? And then you realize that he's not home at where Gwen is at his real home, and I was like, oh snap. So I was dying to know, like, well, where's Peter? Like, I can't wait. I mean, sorry, Miles, when we meet this world's Miles. So yeah, man, I was an epic scene, man. They had me. My probably my favorite part of the movie was this scene.
And I think, and the crazy part is, they had me already at the fact that Miles in the room and stuff like that, talking to the mom. But to add Gwen outside the one in the other universe was like, they really doubled down on it. Stuff
Great
like
writing.
that.
Great writing.
Yeah. I think that was like
good.
amazing to me. So, but speaking of Gwen, when she does walk in, his mom and parents like, what the hell? Why you in his room? And is in the third, and he's not there. And then, she's like telling her she's got to go save Miles. And they're confused as fuck. Like, where the hell's Miles? What are you talking about? Something like that. And she's like, don't worry, I'll handle it. Meanwhile, Uncle Aaron's like, come with me, blah, blah, blah. And then when he gets upstairs on the roof and stuff, he realizes that the city is on fire, literally, because that world doesn't have a Spider-Man. And that's what happens without a Spider-Man and stuff. And he sees the mural of his dad up there as well, who's gone. And then he gets knocked the fuck out at that time. And then we see what Chloe said, the reveal of, or Tony, the reveal of the other Miles Morales, but at his uncle's apartment, who's actually the Prowler. Wow. So, and then I'll keep going, just finish it off. And then we see Gwen, meanwhile, has gone to recruit a team to help find Miles and take on Miguel and the other Spider-Man, which includes Peter B. Parker jumping back on his good side, being his friend Chloe, and stuff like that, and doing that. So, and then it kind of ends, part 2. So, E, I know you said that the way it ended bothered you because of the continuation. So, how'd you like the whole ending leading up to that and stuff?
So I got excited with the lead up, honestly, especially when I realized that it was a Miles Prowler. Right. So once I realized that, I wanted more, and for it to just say "to be continued" pissed me off.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
All right. Yeah, so that shit pissed me off. Let me see if I can fix it.
E? Nah, we lost you, E.
Yeah, you muted yourself now. You were good. And then you said, let me fix it.
All right, well, E come back. Tony, how you felt about the lead up to the ending and then the ending itself?
I'm with E, actually. I knew before we went to the movies it was 2 hours and 16 minutes. And when I was watching, I was like, yo, this is really long. And how are they going to wrap it up and put a bow on it and make it end, because I didn't know it was going to be another one, so I had no clue. So when it just kind of abruptly ended, it was cool because I was like, now, like the first one, I didn't care to see. Matter of fact, I think the first time I watched it was with you guys. I didn't even go to movies. And this one, I didn't care to see, but Sandy wanted to see it, so I went to see it. Oh, the next one, I'm going to see it. So that was cool.
Oh, 40X, by the way. We got to do 40X.
Bro, even now, Josh, I kicked myself. I didn't go see this in 4DX because I just found out they had it in 4DX. I'm like, I even kind of feel like I almost kind of want to go see this in 4DX.
Yeah, I kind of want to go back and see it.
We might have to go see it tonight. We have to go see it tonight.
Yeah, here's the funny thing. I argued with my doctor over going to 4DX. I'll tell you about that. But he said I'm at the
matter of fact, he right. Hell no, you can't go to 40X.
Yo, because that Fast and the Furious, bro. But anyway, so but Mike, to your point, man, I wait till I give y'all guys my my rating from 1 to 10. But it was the lead up. It was so good, man. So, even though it was a cliffhanger, but this was one of the best cliffhangers. So I am a little upset that it was able to just end. But again, it's one of the best cliffhangers.
I think before I get you guys, I think I was upset, even though I knew, but I think the way they did it, they had you so invested at that moment, you wanted to continue. It was better than, but it was better done than Fast X, who also left with a cliffhanger and stuff. So it was better done than that. That was just kind of like, really, it's gonna end right here? You know what I mean? But this kind of like was like, wow, I want more and stuff like that. But you saw Fast X, right, Tony? So you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, how they just kind of ended. So, Josh, how you felt about the ending leading up to the ending and the whole ending and stuff?
Oh, it was fantastic because similar to Tony, I looked at the runtime. I was like, oh, this is gonna be pretty lengthy, which is, to me, I like that. I don't like shorter ones for shorter movies, but so longer ones means there's going to be a lot more details. And of course, I knew this was going to be part one because initially it was part 1 and part 2. Then I was glad that they changed the name at the end, which is cool too. So people who, if you knew, you knew. So unfortunately, those who didn't know, they might have been disappointed.
Those who didn't know were mad as hell. Like I read about.
Yeah, but for me, because I knew that, it was a fantastic cliffhanger for me.
Oh, Josh,
I love this is like a Game of Thrones-esque.
Josh, people was booing in my theater.
Yeah,
they was mad.
Oh nah, I would never.
If you didn't know at all, you would have, and I can see why you would have been mad. Like, what the fuck? What do you mean? Stuff like that. So, but but Josh, talk about. So you like the whole. I guess Gwen getting the team together, and then Miles with the Prowlers.
Oh yeah, getting the old gang back together. That was in the original movie. I thought that was cool. That was a nice. So essentially, and I got this from Screen Crush. Essentially, she was telling the story to them and how to recruit them. Yeah, so I thought that was a great way to tie it all together. That was pretty cool. But also, I kind of like this this Dipset version of Miles because essentially he did have the emotional capacity of a kid who had their dad murdered, unfortunately, especially in that area of New York and of the world. So to me, that actually made sense how actions have different ramifications.
Okay. Club, the ending?
It's giving Killmonger. That's what it did. I think that there's going to be okay, let me say this. The ending was dope, obviously. I went into it not knowing it was going to be a cliffhanger. I'm used to Marvel when there is a cliffhanger. It's not just like so abrupt, you know, like Avengers Endgame and stuff. Like I liked how that ended because it was just like, but there was an ending. This ain't have no ending. It was just like, and cut. See you on another. And the first thing I asked was like, when is the next one coming out? Like, I want to wait 3 years for the next part. And Josh like Googled it, and when it was disappointed.
It's about less than a year from now.
Yeah,
well,
next year.
Well, yeah, but I didn't know that. I didn't know it was going to be a cliffhanger.
Oh yeah.
So I was just like I said, in the movie theater, I looked at Josh like, well, dang, how long we gonna have to wait to see how this turns out?
Yeah. And
he Googled it, and he's like, oh, it's not. It's only March. Yeah. I'm like, all right, that's still a long time, but I could, I could watch this a couple more times before then. But usually with Marvel movies, we're so used to waiting like 2 years, a year.
No, and I get your point. That's what makes you mad. Like Fast X again,
Yeah.
they haven't even written that movie, the next movie yet. So the craziest part, I'm more shot it. So crazy part, you don't know when it's gonna happen. So for this, at least we know March is less than a year from now. So I think that's gonna look a blow by quick.
Lord, don't remind me. It's coming quick.
Yeah,
and then and what was I gonna say? And people were upset in our movie theater too. My nephew Julian, he was upset. Malaya, we took my goddaughter to go see it, which is why we didn't see it in 4XD because it was a school night, and I think we missed the 6:00 showing or something. So we had to just go to Hamilton, but she really enjoyed it. But she was like, "What? That's how it ends?" I was like, "Yeah."
How would you rate the movie on a 1 to 10? It's Chloe. This one.
I'm gonna say like a 9.5, like somewhere between a 9 and up. I loved it. I mean, I'm not a person who watches movies more than once. Like I just don't. I'm definitely gonna be watching this at least like 3 or 4 times, just because it was just so pretty. Like it was just so pretty to watch. But the soundtrack could have been way better. Like they set the bar so high with the first one with the soundtrack that this one I was just like, what kind of weak soundtrack is this? And then they tried to do like a Post Malone song, like the Sunflower song, and it just wasn't giving what's supposed to give. So I was just like a little disappointed with the soundtrack because I downloaded the other soundtrack and I was like listening to it, but they did the same thing with Black Panther. So what can you do? But yeah, I'm gonna give it like a 9 point something. It's higher than a 9 for me.
Right. Josh,
I definitely give it a 9.3 for 3 main reasons. Incredible illustrations, of course, captivating storyline, and a connection to the MCU. And of course, another Oscar is loading for this picture for sure. In terms of animated, it's not. There's no competition as of now, right?
I think it might get nominated for Best Picture. Honestly, I can see that happening.
Definitely. I could definitely see that. So I loved how it was connected to multiverse and in clever ways. If you knew, you knew. In terms of dreams being confirmation that is your alternate multiverse, which is the rule of incursion. There, Tony, for you. So I thought that was very interesting. I love how they opened up doors for Madam Web, especially with a Miguel O'Hara, which is basically the Spider-Verse third-eyed Raven. I think will be pretty cool, and I can't wait to see how Miguel O'Hara is connected to the TVA or Kang himself or one of his variants. I can't wait, and Madam Web as well. So I thought it was a great story, and I'm very excited for the next one.
Tony, how'd you rate it?
Well, you know how I feel about points. It's cheesy. It's like you just don't want to. You like Chloe said, it's higher than a 9, or higher than a 9 is a 10 to me. But anyway, it got to get a 9, man. It gets a 9. It would have got a 10. Kind of Chloe said is a great point. When not Endgame, but Infinity War ended, right? You felt it ended. Like you knew it was going on, but they like ripped the story to kind of end, and then you waiting for the next one to see how it begins again, right? And not continue. And so again, great cliffhanger, but for me, I love a movie with a great ending. Like if you're gonna get a solid 10, you gotta have a great ending. And this didn't have a great ending. This had a great cliffhanger. So that's why I give it a 9. Again, in my world, a 9 is, you're almost a 10, right? But yeah, man, it was great. I mean, I literally was like, if you watch my review, I'm like going to watch another cartoon movie. Like I just looked at it as a cartoon. And it was a cartoon, but it was an epic cartoon, well done. I'm not a big stickler for music. Music could have been better, but I'm more like the story, my expectations, and the entertainment, and everything they did right. Story was great. My expectation was blown out the water because I didn't think I would like it. Didn't even care to see it, and it was super entertaining. I'm on the edge of my seat the whole time. So it only gets deducted at 1 point because they just didn't seal the deal with a great ending.
And you know, I always use halves. I've been doing that since we've been doing stuff together. So
Yep.
I'm gonna go with a 9.5, only because the
Nice.
ending is the whole reason why. Besides that, to me, it's a perfect movie. I'm gonna re-rank my Spider-Man films at some point. It's gonna be near the top, I'm sure, if not at the top. So to me, besides that, it's just everything you needed. It did. Had the jokes, had the action, had a great story, the cliffhanger, the like I said, the reveal, all that together is it's just like ties it up in a bow. Except for it being a continuation, which is why it only lost a half for me. But besides that, it's a 9.5. And I said in my other chat, Tony not in there, but I said if they nail it to me on Beyond the Spider-Verse, this might be the best comic trilogy ever to me. Stuff like that. So I got to see if the next one they nail it. But I can definitely see, that happening. So with that being said, we lost E-Money, unfortunately, as we usually do. But I want to thank you all for coming on. I appreciate you guys. Great to have the team back together. Thanks to everybody for watching. Definitely got to do this more often, with all you guys. Tony's got to work. Maybe you can come on to some of our Secret Invasion shows. And
Yeah, man.
I definitely want to review Transformers and The Flash, stuff like that. So I'm sure you'll be seeing those. I don't know about you and Chloe, Josh, but whatever y'all do, go see. When y'all come on. But I will be doing a weekly Secret Invasion show, so we'll pick a good day and time for that.
And Mike, we actually, now I know we don't do everything together anymore, but we owe the people Extraction Part 2 because we did do Extraction 1 together.
When that come out? Is that already?
I'm not sure. I just keep seeing the thing.
Whenever it comes out, we'll do that. And you got a little time now, so we can do it. We can do it anytime. I'm free all day, so are you. So we can do it anytime.
I ain't doing nothing.
So all right, but besides that, I do want to say peace to you guys, and we'll definitely see you. I guess on the next one. All right.
Mike and the Super Friends.
No, the Comic Cinema Crew. We'll see you next time. Brand